How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Yell in a Cell Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Zachary Weinberger, here with JP Acosta. And first of all, JP, how's it going?
It's going great, man. This past WrestleMania weekend was absolutely amazing. The wrestling, both on the independent scene and from NXT and WWE, was really good. And I'm excited to get into the next week, see where it leads us.
Absolutely. But before we do that, right? We're recording this on Thursday, April 15th. If you guys know what happened on last year, April 15th, we got what people had called which today obviously was a dark day for a lot of wrestlers a year ago when WWE made all those cuts and releases to the likes of the Good Brothers now, Eric Young, EC3, yada yada yada. Rusev was part of that. We have gotten some more releases today.
All right. And I'm just now hearing about these, so my reactions are going to be genuine as he says these.
Right. So again, I was texting who we were setting up the Zoom link for this, and I just saw the news literally like 10 minutes ago. And I told JP to just stay off Twitter for a little bit. I want to kind of surprise you with these. I'll tell you what, there's nothing huge. You're not going to see the likes of a big superstar being released here. We're not seeing that.
Okay.
So, but there's a couple of surprising ones. So I will list them off for you from maybe, again, all of these are bad. You want to see better things for these guys, but I'll list them off for you. Wesley Blake. It's the first one. Forgotten Sons,
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Kalisto.
What? No
Kalisto.
way.
All he did in SmackDown was pretty much flirt with Sasha Banks, and that was kind of it. So
RP the good lucha things.
Yep. And obviously in that Andre the Giant Battle Royale, actually the rest of the Lucha House Party were against him, threw him out of the ring. Tucker.
Ah, man. That kind of sucks.
Obviously turned on Otis. You'll see a trend here, by the way, with actually I don't want to spoil it, but he turned on Otis at Hell in a Cell last year and pretty much did nothing after that.
Yeah, I get that.
Chelsea Green.
Wait, what? She literally just signed her recently.
They just signed her recently. She was on an episode of SmackDown. Actually, she was on an episode of SmackDown several months ago. This is for the Survivor Series team. This was in November. And then she injured herself in that match. It was like a qualifying match or whatever. And that's it for her. So she's being released.
Injured, bro.
There's two more. And these two are big. Mickie James.
What?
Who hasn't been wrestling. She's been injury prone. She wrestled several months ago last year in 2020. I know she had a championship match against Asuka. And then after that, she got injured. I think that was it for her.
She was on commentary for an NXT event, I think. I feel like she was.
I think she was. This last one, JP, is disheartening. It's disheartening. We expected a lot from this woman. It's a woman. On the WrestleMania card. But she is.
No.
Do you want to make a guess?
On the WrestleMania card. It was this year's WrestleMania card.
Yeah, they just passed, yeah.
Dang, that is cruel. She was on the main card, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Billie Kay?
Yes.
No, what?
It is.
Are you serious?
It is Billie Kay. And JP, I am going to bring up the question that we've been asking since it happened. Why did you break up the Iconics?
Why? For what reason? You had a great women's tag team, and now one of them's gone. The other one isn't doing anything. What is... Dude, I really can't believe they released Billie Kay. She was one of the funnier wrestlers. And she had something kind of building, I guess. But dang.
She was just recently also, but with teaming up with Carmella in the tag team turmoil match. It seems like they've been trying to find her something to do on SmackDown. She was with the Riot Squad for a bit, and then Italian Tamina. She's kind of bouncing around. But yeah, those are the releases. And hopefully, I mean, if there's more throughout the show, I'll talk about it. I think that's it. This has been obviously officially released from WWE, wishing them the best in their future endeavors. But, people were saying this, and I have to agree, why do you do this on the exact same day that you did last year? It was a dark day for a lot of people. They did it again on the same day this year. again, and Tucker tweeted, by the way, he said freedom, baby. That's what he tweeted. So
Okay. Okay,
what?
Tucker.
Okay, so general thoughts, JP. Are you surprised? I mean, besides Billy Kay, because to me that's the most surprising one. Or just general thoughts on the cuts.
I mean, they weren't really like super big names. I was a little shocked that Kalisto was released, but generally they weren't doing much with him. Mickey James was also kind of interesting because I thought they would have her more leaning towards commentary or production, but no, just straight up released her. Now I'm not going to be the guy that says they should all go to AEW because they shouldn't. There's a whole lot of wrestling outside of Daily's Place on Wednesdays. I mean, it's really tough, man, especially with the whole Billy Kay thing. Because that you can't blame Billy Kay for real. WWE did that to themselves by breaking up the Iconics. We asked the question when it was first released that they broke them up like a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, and we were like, for what? What reason were you going to break them up? And then we've seen them do pretty much nothing since. I mean, Peyton Royce had a good match with Asuka. Billy Kay was involved in heavily in the Women's Royal Rumble. Some people saying that was one of their favorite people in the Rumble. Had an important role in WrestleMania, and now she's gone. So really, it's just a lot of these people are coming from tag teams where they are mishandled. Like Heavy Machinery to an extent, yeah, because they should have kept them as a tag team, even though Otis was real popular.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh no.
um,
Oh no.
okay. So wow. Okay.
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
obviously we said I was gonna update until there was more. There has been just two I'm seeing now being updated on the same article. One, not that surprising. You hate to see it, not that surprising. One is surprising. One is definitely surprising. The one that's not surprising is Bo Dallas.
Oh man. Bo had like a legendary run in NXT, but could never really get past that Bo leave thing. They should have I saw this Kayfabe News article, Kayfabe News satire wrestling page on Twitter, who said they're gonna repackage Bo Dallas as the Fiend's brother, the friend, and I thought that was really funny. So, but I mean, Bo's got charisma, man. I think he can do pretty much anything character wise, but just comes down to the wrestling. But that's not
Yeah,
that surprising.
this next one's surprising. Well, the thing about Bo Dallas is I agree with you about the NXT run. He was great. Obviously, the speculation about him being the Fiend, this new Fiend, whatever. Um, and he was just sitting at catering, doing nothing. So I guess it's good for him. Maybe. I mean, hopefully he'll get a shot somewhere else. I mean, the guy's a great wrestler. So this next one, I did not see this coming.
Okay.
I would argue to say that a big name, a name that I'll let you guess right now. I'll give you a hint. This was a name that people wanted to return back in the ring and wrestle and hopefully get some title reigns.
No, please no.
Samoa Joe has been released by W. Samoa Joe has been released by the WWE.
You got to be kidding me. Oh my gosh.
We were wondering, he was on the Raw commentating team, right? This past Monday, we got a new team. I thought that maybe that was a sign of him, like maybe we'll get him back in the ring. No, he's been released. Again, by the way, let me just say this real quick. There's a shot that people could be signed back. The same thing happened with Drake Maverick. He was released and then he was got back there. Samoa Joe, though, being released by the WWE. JP, I could tell you're just visibly upset.
I am infuriated. Samoa Joe is one of my favorite wrestlers, bro. He can do anything promo-wise. He did great on commentary. He does great wrestling. And you release a guy like that? He was even popular on Up, Up, Down, Down, the WWE wrestling like gaming channel. He's too valuable to the company for you to release him. You could have him as a manager, and he'd be great. Have him manage like Matt Riddle or something. But man, it'll be interesting to see where he goes next because I feel like if he wants to wrestle, then he could go literally anywhere. Like I would love to see him in New Japan, personally, because that'd be kind of fire. But
Let me ask you. Let me say this real quick, JP. So again, I said that we're gonna keep updating this as possible. There hasn't been any yet. Definitely the biggest name so far, right? I think Samoa Joe definitely is. Um, I wonder what was the injury that he suffered that sidelined him, if you remember.
let me see. I'm gonna
Because I
do a
mean,
quick search.
WWE must have taken that very seriously if they thought that he should have been signed. I don't know. If Samoa Joe is being released now, I'm really worried about maybe who if there's anybody more else. I'm trying to remember back to a year ago of how the schedule was. If they just released a couple names and then they added more time and time again that day, I honestly forgot. Um, but I'm whatever the injury was to Samoa Joe, it had to be serious. Maybe that's part of it.
He had a concussion.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's weird. I'm honestly scared to refresh this Twitter page, to be honest. Just to kind of see, because again, they've updated the article with the names in there. So once again, the names are Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. Samoa Joe obviously being the biggest one there. But before we kind of go back onto that, and we'll maybe end the show on that, we have two pay-per-views to talk about and give our thoughts on. And we'll probably do this maybe in the future. Well, maybe in episodes we'll have like news to begin with, and then we get to the main topic of the show. But we'll be checking Twitter along the way, seeing if there's anything more when it comes to any releases. Maybe they pick up some people. Who knows? I'm gonna refresh Sean Ross Sapp one more time before we officially start. His last tweet was, "I'm told John Laurinaitis has been making the calls to talent and citing budget cuts as the reason for the WWE releases." That was what he just said. People power. That's John Laurinaitis. So let's go ahead. Let's just talk about. Let's line ourselves up. Let's talk about NXT Takeover and WrestleMania. Two great shows, and we'll talk about it. Well, also, I would say at the end. Also, what I'm gonna do is I have a paper and a pen here. I'm going to count who got the most right here for predictions on either show. Who won WrestleMania weekend? We were not perfect. We weren't, but we'll talk about it. And we'll talk about obviously the matches. Yeah, and we won't go too in depth with the matches because there's a lot of matches to get through, but definitely our overall enjoyment, our favorite spots, yada yada yada. Let's do NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. Starting off with the opening match of the card, it was Kushida versus Pete Dunne. In a random singles match. Pete Dunne thought that he was the best technical wrestler in the world. Kushida thought differently. They had a really good match, by the way, with this one. And again, we're talking about technicality. This match was all that, but also very fast paced as well. A couple spots that I really liked. Obviously, when Kushida does a hoverboard lock off the top to Pete Dunne, and the whole ending of the match was very fast paced there, especially when it came to the point where the whole joint manipulation thing that Pete Dunne does, where every time he tries to, stretch the fingers out of people, it just makes me cringe so much. Finish was Dunne stomped both the Kushida's hands, and Kushida powered up and hit Dunne with a punch, but then he was stunned by the injured hand, and then Dunne hit the bitter end for the pin there. We both got that one right. We both thought Pete Dunne would win that one. JP, thoughts on the match?
Man, what a good way to open a show. What a good way to open a pay-per-view. You got two of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and this was some wrestling. It wasn't like wrestling, it was wrestling. And what else can you say about Kushida? Up until Wednesday, I was gonna give him the Jey Uso award for best loser because he might lose most of the matches that he's in, but he's gonna look real good doing it. Right. And this is what happened here. Pete Dunne, once again, proving he's the best in the world, one of the best in the world. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes from here, though, because he just got out of a title feud with Finn Balor. Does he go back towards Walter for the UK title? Does he go for Johnny Gargano with the North American title? Does he form a tag team? I'm not saying he's in limbo, but after beating Kushida, where does that leave him?
True. Daniel Bryan, please. Obviously we talked about that match and stuff. Like, we'll see what other wrestler on NXT maybe thinks that they're the best technical wrestler in the world. I'm cool with seeing him kind of go through the gauntlet of these sort of things. And again, it resulted in a really good match against Kushida here. I think the one criticism that I did have is that I would have loved it to be longer. I'm gonna say that a lot throughout this video, by the way, especially on WrestleMania. There's a lot of matches that were so good, but maybe could have been a bit longer. And this was definitely one of them. A good match overall, though. And Pete Dunne gets the much needed win, getting that push. We move on to the next one. 6-man gauntlet match. Whoever wins faces Johnny Gargano the next night for the North American title. And who wins this? It is Bronson Reed. And correct me if I'm wrong, JP. We both had Dexter Lumis winning this one.
So we had Loomis, but I think one of us wanted Reed and the other wanted Loomis. I can't remember
which. I think we both wanted Reed because of what he could bring. JP, I hate to have a commercial break here.
Oh no.
Another release.
Oh no.
Peyton Royce has been released.
Are you serious? Dog. They just wasted the Iconics. They wasted them. They had one title run. That's it. This was the perfect time to bring the Iconics back together. Because you had the NXT women's tag titles and then the regular tag titles. You know how much they could have brought to those divisions? Like, come on, man. But
one thing I will say real quick, kind of about these releases, someone tweeted saying, at Aleister Black, don't answer the phone.
Oh my God. If they release Aleister Black, I'm going to walk off like I did Samoa Joe.
I hate to, I feel like it's going to happen. I think we're going to see that. I mean, they haven't been using him. He's still connected to Selena Vega. I just don't see a way for him to come back. The relationship has been shot. We'll see. I just want to throw that in there. Thoughts on Peyton Royce. Literally saw reports that Vince was high on her, and now she's cut. So why did you break up the Iconics? No reason to do it. And now your women's tag team division is suffering, as long with, again, I feel like these cuts are just going to hurt the locker room so much. So we'll see. Moving on, back to NXT Takeover. Again, we will update as we get it. But again, another bad cut there. You cut both of the Iconics, one of the best women's tag teams there. So let's move on. We both had Dexter Lumis winning this match. He did not win. However, Bronson Reed did, and he's going to face Johnny Gargano next. A really fun Gauntlet Eliminator match, actually. It started off with actually Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott, who fought on NXT this past Tuesday. And they started off, and they just went guns blazing, fighting with each other. And then we get the rest of the 4 people in there. Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, LA Knight was part of this one. And it really resulted in some great stuff here. I think there was actually a really good moment there between, it was the final 2. It was Scott and it was Reed. And they really they had a really good mini match at the end there. But it resulted in Bronson Reed winning there. JP, what did you think? And what did you think of Bronson Reed winning this?
This was not a bad gauntlet match. A lot of gauntlet matches sometimes can be a little sloppy with everybody coming back in at different times. But I feel like the rivalries here were played on throughout different points in the match. Of course, Leon Ruff and Swerve still continued their rivalry, which has been one of the best, or not underappreciated, but unknown kind of rivalries in NXT. They've been consistently putting on great matches. With Cameron Grimes still kind of feuding with whoever. I think all the rivalries were played on really nicely. And Bronson Reed is, man, there's really not much else you can say about him other than he's really impressive in terms of what he does in the ring. In terms of being a big guy who can move. The Tsunami is a top 10 move I would never want to take a day in my life. It's like he's flattening a bug. I don't hate that Bronson Reed won. I enjoy it. And Dexter Lumis getting rolled up by LA Knight was kind of odd to me. I guess you kind of got to give him a win somehow. But it kind of shows how loaded this men's division is in NXT, where you got a whole bunch of guys that are in a gauntlet match just being number 1 contender for a title, who you could logistically see all of them holding that title. So good match overall.
Yeah, agreed. And again, I don't mind. Like JP said, I don't mind that Reed won it. In fact, I'll just do a little bit of a spoiler. What resulted in day 2 was a really awesome match, surprisingly. So we'll talk about that in a little later. But obviously, I'm keeping tally here. we didn't get this one right. So we move on to the next match in the card, which is what I called, and I think you will agree with me, the best match of night one. One of the best matches in this whole weekend, but one of the best matches of the year, in my personal opinion, was Walter taking on Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT UK title. My God, I don't know what I really expected. I thought this was going to be a really good match. I don't know why I didn't expect an absolute banger and one of the best matches of the year, but that's exactly what we got here. What I loved about this match, though, because Tommaso Ciampa has been sort of kind of a beating bag recently. Even with him kind of teaming up with Timothy Thatcher, he's been kind of the beating bag for Imperium, and even before, he's been kind of setting up other guys. We saw him do that with Karrion Kross at In Your House, and we saw that with obviously with Walter and Imperium. But he looked strong here. He didn't have his normal gear. He had trunks on, and he was like this crazy lunatic, indecisive, kind of going out in there, not giving up against this big behemoth of a man that is Walter. There was a moment in this match that really stood out to me that I was shocked that he kept doing. He kept going clotheslining Walter over and over and over and over, and he just kept going. And what I loved about this, and I never really seen, again, I haven't seen a lot of Walter matches, but what I thought was really cool in this one is that he targeted Walter's arm, his chopping arm, and that really hindered Walter a lot throughout this match. It made the chop a thing where, like, we didn't see it so much in that match, but when it came and when he did it, it was very effective. And again, it was just pretty much so smooth between these two guys. But it ends up that Walter did defend his NXT UK title, which we were both right on. And we didn't think that that Ciampa was winning and going to the UK. But JP, thoughts on the match?
They beat the ever-loving hell out of each other. And those are the matches I love the most. Like, you know how you're a huge fan of the death matches, the ECW. I am a fan of people beating the crap out of each other. Just chops, kicks, punches, slams. Just make it stiff. And at first, I had this as my second favorite match of the year. After I watched WrestleMania, I was like, Walter vs. Ciampa is second. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was looking back at some of the highlights. I'm like, nah, this was great. The amount of like, oh, is Ciampa gonna win here? Like, I think this might be my favorite match of the year so far because the physicality. I don't think we've seen that level of physicality from Tommaso Ciampa since the first fight pit against Tim Thatcher. And Walter just brings that out of people. He makes you want to like beat the crap out of you or beat the crap out of him. One thing I really did enjoy about this match is that Walter finished with a chop. It made sense. You know, I saw some people kind of complain, well, it was a chop, but that's kind of a basic move. Well, I'm like, well, first, Walter's chop sounds like a 12 gauge shotgun. So it's not really that basic. And two, it felt like body blows, you know, in boxing where you just keep getting hit in the body, you keep getting hit, and the next thing you know, you never know which shot is going to be the one that ends it. Walter kept hitting them with chops, but you didn't know which one would be the one that ended it. And he has a lot of different finishing moves. I can't really like give you a move that he's like known for like finishing wise because he pinned Tommaso Ciampa with a chop. He beat Pete Dunne with a top rope splash. He beat Ilya Dragunov with either a power bomb or a sleeper hold.
It was a sleeper hold, yeah. He just knocked him out.
Yeah, he knocked him out. So he's a versatile wrestler who doesn't necessarily like need this is my finisher. This is the only one I have. It's like, no, I got 3 moves that could kill you.
Also, that massive power bomb that he does, which by the way, at the end of this match, like you said, the way he finished me, he blasted him with 2 power bombs. He hit a dragon suplex on Ciampa, and then obviously finished up with the knife edge chop. When people were complaining about that, which I did see it, I kind of see what they're saying, but I don't at the same time. Like you said, obviously a chop, we've seen a lot of wrestlers do it. I feel like in every match we see, it's almost used so much. However, again, like you said, when Walter does it, it's just much different. You know, and I had one little thing. The one thing I didn't like about that Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns match at Fastlane, right, was that it ended with Daniel Bryan taking 2 steel chair shots at the back, and then he gets pinned. I believe more the Walter chop finishing off a person than that. Because,
so again, we're saying that Walter's chop is stronger than the chair to the back.
I think it is.
I believe it, honestly.
I think
He
it
could
is.
probably chop through a chair and like cut it in half.
Yeah, and I had a problem just recently on Dynamite, which I know we haven't talked about. We'll have a separate episode talking about Dynamite, what's been happening, stuff like that. They had an incredible tag team championship match yesterday, but they had what is his name? Anthony Ogogo. He's
Yeah.
part of this QT, the charismatic QT Marshall's new faction of the Nightmare, and he won the match, a squash match, by just gut punching a guy, you know, and I'm like, I mean, I know a lot of people
See,
were really awesome on that, but I'm just like, I don't know.
I get it. And I get it for this reason. He's a gold medal winning boxer whose punches could legit kill you. So getting punched in the stomach by him is probably, I'm not saying it was a pin like a 1, 2, 3.
Right.
The way they did it was a ref stoppage because he couldn't get up. So I understand. I believe that more than pinning after getting punched in the stomach. But it makes sense to me. Walter's chop also makes sense to me because it could probably kill you. Like it would probably deflate your chest. Like it looked like one of Tom Brady's footballs. It just pow.
Well,
And you're done.
have you seen that image where it's like it's a photo of just taken at the right time of when Walter is like on the chest of someone, and you can see his hand is like almost making a print. It's like in there.
Yes, dog.
That's a crazy image. Again, Walter. Again, like we said, this was an absolute fantastic match for JP. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It's your favorite match easily of WrestleMania week and weekend,
Yep.
and it's maybe your favorite match of the year.
Favorite match of WrestleMania weekend. Favorite match of the year so far.
It's definitely up there for me. There's one more match that I liked on Takeover better, and then there's maybe about one or two on WrestleMania that I just loved, and we'll obviously talk about it. It was a great match, though. Really a surprising one for some. I don't know why it was surprising for me. I thought it was really good. I just didn't think that Ciampa would get so much action in, and I'm glad he did because again, this guy is a former NXT champion. This guy is so well renowned. He got the amount of offense he needed to do. It was great. Again, and I hate to cut off a little bit more. It did remind me a little bit of him and Ilya Dragunov, which I saw recently, by the way. That's shit's insane. Shit's insane. Is that we see Dragunov get so much action in there because again, he is a great wrestler. He has that energy like Dragunov did, where he just wouldn't go down. He would just keep going up. You needed to make him unconscious to win. For Ciampa, he did not stop. And that's what I love to see from him in the ring. It was great. It was the best that Ciampa has looked in a long time.
Yeah, it's been the best since the Fight Pit. I didn't think that he would get as physical as he did, especially coming off like the neck injury and the other stuff like that. When he started targeting the neck of Tommaso Ciampa, I was like, oh God, oh no. And he did the sleeper suplex like right on his neck. And I'm like, oh God, like he's going to kill him. But Ciampa was so much more physical in this match than any other previous matches with other tag teams. And I think that's credit to him and also credit to Walter, who, like I said, brings out that physicality. So, like I said, my favorite match of the year so far, it was the best of a pretty loaded amount of good matches this weekend.
Yes. Mini update, Sean Ross Sapp, no release. He did say, and I quote, "I was told to not expect Aleister Black to be released, but I'm not sure what that really means anymore since multiple people among today's cuts were assured that prior as well." So to be TBD on if that happens throughout this episode. If not, follow us on @Yell_Cell. We'll give our thoughts, and obviously we'll be retweeting from our personal accounts as well. So let's move on to the next match here. The NXT tag team titles, the vacant NXT tag team titles, are on the line. It was with Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Danny Burch got injured. They vacated the titles. Now it's going to be defended. And the winner of the triple threat tag team match, which was MSK, Grizzled Young Veterans, and Legado del Fantasma. Who won this? It was, in fact, MSK, the safe winner there. I went a little risky there. I picked Grizzled Young Veterans to win this one, so I did not get this one right. JP did. He picked MSK, obviously. And obviously, I wanted MSK to win. But they did it, and they won it in great fashion. This was a really, really good match. And once again, really, you did not expect, well, for me, did not expect Legado del Fantasma to really have any chance here. However, there was a couple of times where maybe they would have pulled out the upset there, which, again, I love when matches kind of, get the disbelief out. Like, really, can this team really win? Because again, that happened with Walter and Ciampa. Ciampa really made me think like, wow, are they about to do an upset here? But MSK wins it. There was a lot of great moments there. I mean, it's pretty much what you expected from these three teams in the same ring. You know, a lot of that psychology. And again, we saw the excitedness from MSK. We saw the strategery of the Grizzly Young Veterans, and we saw Legado del Fantasma kind of do both. I mean, again, all these teams really put on a really good job here, but in the end, MSK does win the NXT Tag Team titles, new champions. JP, thoughts on the match?
Absolute insanity, man. All these teams can fly. They pick up the pace. It was a really, I guess I hate to use the same word, but it was a really good change of pace after the Walter match versus Ciampa, where there weren't a lot of high flying moves, a lot of more mat based wrestling, a lot of strike heavy. This was high flying, high adrenaline, just offense after strike, tag move after tag move. And ultimately, I think the right team won. The God of Phantasma had a fantastic showing, though. Like, it was at a point where I'm like, I could see them winning the NXT tag titles sometime in their future because, dude, they had a great showing. I wouldn't mind seeing like them versus MSK in a tag match by themselves later on down the line. Grizzly Young Veterans, I feel like they're in a. I hate making this comparison because, people are gonna be like, oh, yada yada yada, they were there already. Grizzly Young Veterans remind me so much of FTR in the way that they're kind of old school but new school at the same time, but they just mesh so well with other teams. Like, you could put them against some entering tag team who they never wrestled before, and they'll make it boom seamless. And that's what I think their role is. They're gonna be great heels. They're gonna win the NXT tag titles maybe again, but that's what they do. MSK, it was well deserved. You knew that after they won the Dusty Cup, they're gonna win the titles. They're one of the best tag teams on NXT already. Their offense just it amazes me every time. Where like, dude, both these guys can fly. I think there was one point in the match where oh shoot, I think it was Wesley who he hit I think it was one of the members of Grizzly Young Veterans with a cartwheel Pele kick where he like
All
does a
right.
cartwheel, then backflips into a kick, and then goes straight over the top rope for a tope. And I'm like, did gravity just leave the building? Like, it's so amazing what they do. And I'm excited to see where their tag title reign goes. There aren't a lot of tag teams outside of like it's a very top heavy tag division. You got MSK as the champions, but you got Grizzly Young Veterans, Legado, Imperium, and then after that, Brizongo, Killian Dane, and Drake Maverick. It's very top heavy.
A lot of
So
heels, a lot of heel tag
a
teams in
lot
there.
of heels.
Yeah. I mean, you have Everrise, but they, I mean, really haven't been
Everrise
featured.
is Everrise is more 205 live, but you can bring them on to NXT.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be interesting to see where they go.
absolutely. Um, I still, I think it's just me personally. Just it would have been for me better. I mean, obviously, well deserved for MSK. I thought it would have made more sense if they were trying to chase the tag team titles with the heels already having them on. So I thought they made it a triple threat tag team so that maybe Grizzly Young Veterans would depend Legado del Fantasma, and then that would create the whole MSK thing going on. But no, they put the straps on MSK. Obviously, well deserved for them. We move on to the main event for the NXT Women's title. Io Shirai takes on Raquel Gonzalez, and Raquel Gonzalez picks up the dub here, becoming the new NXT Women's Champion, ending the 305-day run of Io Shirai. Io Shirai had a really awesome reign with the title, but we knew it was coming here when we knew Raquel Gonzalez was going to get a chance, and we knew she was going to get the strap, and that's what happened. Excuse me. So, and by the way, sorry if I keep checking my phone. I see notification from Sean Ross Sapp. I'm like, is there another release? What did he say? He retweeted a Matt Cardona tweet, Zack Ryder, who said like, you know how like Austin 316 will kick your ass. He said like April 15 something will fire your ass or something like that. So that's what he said. And obviously his wife is Chelsea Green. So we'll see if she goes to Impact, maybe with him. We'll see. But we're going on to the main event here. And Raquel Gonzalez, I've been saying this so often. We've all been saying this. 2021 to me is the year of Raquel Gonzalez. And it continued by her rightfully winning the NXT women's title here in a pretty good match, I would say. Was it the best of the night? No, just because, again, you had Walter and Ciampa there. But this was still really good nonetheless. We saw what we expected from Io Shirai to kind of have that mentality where, like, even though she's not the biggest one, especially compared to Raquel Gonzalez, she's still not going to, leave without a fight. I mean, she got slammed through a wall, for God's sakes, the week before. But this match was just crazy in itself as well. It came to a point where literally there's a skull on the stage, and she went on top of the skull and did a splash onto Raquel Gonzalez on the ramp. But in the end, Raquel Gonzalez does put her away. She hits her with a brutal clothesline, and then that one arm power bomb for the win. And before that, she hit that powerbomb on the outside there as well. So that's how she finished her off. JP, thoughts on this match and thoughts on Raquel Gonzalez winning, and maybe thoughts on Shirai's title reign?
I thought it was a good match. I thought it was kind of quick. Like, I'm like, wow, it was a pretty sprint match. And I went and looked it up on Cage Match, and it looked like it was about 12:55. 12 minutes, 55 seconds, around 13 minutes. The Pete Dunne Kushida match went about 10. Walter vs. Ciampa went 17. And then the triple threat tag match went 15. So it was near the bottom. I think it served its purpose, though. I thought it was a good match. Raquel looked really great. Io Shirai, once again, insane. I think I've said it before. She had one of the best title reigns for the women's title in NXT history. I'm curious to see where she goes from here, though, because there's nowhere to go but up. And by up, I mean up to the main roster. And from there, where does she go? Nobody knows. But I think she had a fantastic title reign, especially through a pandemic, where I feel like any wrestler who held a title through the pandemic automatically gets a bonus for me, because it's not easy to be a champion during that time where you have to show up each week, which means you have zero margin for error. So much props to her. I think Raquel Gonzalez winning was absolutely the right move. She's on fire. I'm excited to see who steps up and challenges her next, because that NXT women's division is absolutely stacked. It might be my favorite division, regardless of gender, in wrestling, because there's so many people. Like, they just signed Sarai,
yeah.
Who's one of the best Joshi wrestlers on the planet, and now she's on NXT along with Mercedes Martinez. You have Dakota Kai, who could possibly challenge. Nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't even think it's possible.
Tegan Knox is still injured. Like, she could come back.
Yeah.
And that's immediately another person in the title for a title opportunity. So it's a loaded division, and Raquel Gonzalez being at the top of that gives me a lot of optimism for where it's going to go.
Absolutely. And also, just kind of, we won't talk about the whole segment that happened on NXT the week after, on Tuesday. We saw the debut of Taya Valkyrie, or her character Frankie Monet, make an appearance, and she pretty much put herself in the women's division as well, talking to Raquel Gonzalez. And I think Raquel Gonzalez said she's going to stick that dog up her culo, is what Raquel Gonzalez said in that promo. And obviously, we saw that special moment there where, I'm not going to say it, because, I mean, whatever. With some new champions, okay? And who was shunned out? Because even before that whole thing happened with Frankie Monet, she was talking about Dakota Kai, how she's a great friend, whatever. She's been through all the way. And then the stuff with Frankie Monet happens, and the stuff with two other champions happens, and she's nowhere in the picture, Dakota Kai. So I think it's coming. I think she'll be coming. Mercedes Martinez did challenge her on Tuesday, so maybe we'll see that as her first feud, and then maybe we'll get to the Dakota Kai. But that is night one, a really good night one of NXT Takeover. Again, Walter Ciampa to me and also to JP really just stood out there. So real quick, JP, you're winning 4-3 when it comes to predictions going into night two of Takeover. So let's see what happens here. Opening match, to be the unified cruiserweight champion, Santos Escobar takes on Jordan Devlin in a ladder match here. And I would say this is a really good match as well. The way this started off, though, I thought it started off a little sloppy between the two, um, especially when it came to maybe in its pace. I'm not even saying a slow pace is bad, but it just seemed like that there's some parts maybe where there's some sort of miscommunication, but it really picked up there in that second act of that match, and we got some really awesome stuff happen. But what happened at the end there? Santos Escobar did win, so I will mark that for you and I as we thought he would. Obviously, it was the right call for me. I didn't think that Jordan Devlin really should have won. It seems like they're really high on Santos Escobar, which, by the way, he literally lost the title on Tuesday to Kushida in a banger. But still, I just feel like there's bigger and brighter things ahead for Santos Escobar, whether it be in the North American title picture, maybe even the main title picture, which we'll see in the future. But this was a really good match here, a really awesome ladder match, especially again during that latter half of it. JP, thoughts on this match? Any favorite moments in this match? What'd you think?
Um, First off, I gotta get a little joke out the way.
Okay.
When Jordan Devlin made his entrance, I was like, dang, his head is real square. Like, dude, it's like a Minecraft character.
Oh my God.
He's got a real square head.
Yeah, he
But
does. He does.
the match was it was a really good match in my opinion. It's really tough to do a one-on-one ladder match because there's a lot of time you got to fill, and they had, according to Cage Match, they went 18 minutes. So it's really tough to fill all that time with just a couple of people. So I don't hate the legato interference. The Spanish Fly off the ladder was absolutely insane. The Spanish Fly in general is one of the most beautiful looking moves
I love that
in
move so much.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. I think Santos Escobar winning was the correct decision. You can have Jordan Devlin go back to NXT UK, possibly feud with Walter for the NXT UK title. I feel like Santos Escobar with Legato, and now mentioning that Kushida now has the NXT Cruiserweight title, is going to give Santos Escobar a little bit of time off because, once again, he carried the Cruiserweight division through the pandemic. Like, I don't think it's any overreaction to say that he carried that division.
Not for me. Nope.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the NXT title picture, especially because it's not only him, it's Legado del Fantasma. You have to worry about multiple people. And I could see it kind of, and please don't skew my words, I could see it a little bit like the Undisputed Era in terms of where they're going, but they won't break up because Legado can hold the NXT tag titles. Santos Escobar can hold any of the titles, and you can just have like a monopoly on NXT with Legado del Fantasma, who is really, outside of Imperium, the only legit faction that you have on NXT now. But I thought it was a pretty cool match. Again, it was sloppy in some parts, but that's to come with a ladder match with only two people. Like, we weren't getting Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. But
well, why not?
I thought it was a fine match.
No, it was. It was definitely good. I also just think it's nerves. There was actually more people in the audience compared to normal NXTs. There was actually they added another row to where like the fences and also to where like the camera's supposed to be. There's actually people there now, so it's a different setup there. Again, pretty solid match to open night two there, and again we were both right on that point. I don't think they should break up Legato. I don't think because to me, I feel like when it comes to Undisputed Era, people were pretty much aware of the talent, and maybe they knew more of Kyle O'Reilly, they knew more of Roderick Strong, they knew more of even Bobby Fish. I just feel like when it comes to the other members of Legado, people don't know him as well. Hopefully, we get to that point and we can see that really awesome payoff with that. Maybe a split up, but I don't think we're getting that anytime soon. We move on to the next match. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart defend their titles against the Way, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell. The faces do retain here, which I just added those points there to our predictions. Again, a pretty predictable match here, though. I will say again, the tag team champions, they have faced the Way, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell 3 times, and they've beaten the Way 3 straight times. Maybe counted 4 because of this past NXT, even though it was an 8-man tag match. But Yeah, I mean, again, I honestly wouldn't even say this was their best match. I really did enjoy their Dusty Cup match when they had it. They had a rematch and then they lost that, but I enjoyed the first one better. But still not a bad match between the two. But again, we had the faces retain here. Again, Shotzi almost killed herself again. In this, again a standard Shotzi Blackheart match when she tries to kill herself. But it was still good. What did you think, JP, of this one?
It was a fun sprint match. I really do enjoy the pairing of Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Like you said, Shotzi Blackheart is insane. Like, she's absolutely insane. The suicide dive she did, where she literally goes through the person to the point where she's about to face plant on the ground. I'm like, oh no, why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. Please don't die. But this was a really good match. And I think what made it really good was Indy Hartwell is coming along at a really, really quick pace. I think that's part of being paired with Candice LeRae, being on TV all the time, and just being in the ring with two people like Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. She's improved a lot, and she's come along really quickly to a point where that match was probably their best match they've had with the Way, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. Where do they go from here? It'll be interesting because not really that many NXT women's tag teams, which again kind of brings to the point two questions. One, why did you make the titles in the first place? Two, why did you break up the Iconics? Because they could be here. Like, come on. But overall, it was a really good match. It was a fun match.
Yeah, it was good. I would say that it doesn't stand out when it comes to stand and deliver, but still it wasn't bad. I would say that again. I still prefer probably their Dusty Cup match compared to their three. They had like a trilogy of matches already, and they lost all of them the way. Which I kind of wanted the Way to win. I mentioned in my predictions just because I think they're great. I love the Way. But again, they need the win, right? So, but they lost. So we move on to the North American title match: Johnny Gargano taking on Bronson Reed, and I am back tied with you, JP, because when you predicted it, and when you were talking about Bronson Reed as well, you said it's his time. He should win the thing. He did not. And I predicted Gargano. He gave me some good stuff when he beat Kushida, and I said, Johnny Takeover, I need you to win another one at Takeover, please. And he does it. A phenomenal match. I thought this is probably the most underrated match of the whole card, of the two nights. This was great. I mean, of course you're gonna get Johnny Gargano. He's a great wrestler. We know he is. We know what he can do. But again, we know how impressive Bronson Reed is, and we see the showcase here. And again, this was a match where I did not know where they were going to go. And the reason why I did predict Johnny Gargano, really the biggest thing, was that they can't have the Way lose twice on the same card. I don't think they could do that with a faction where they just keep losing. You don't want to be Retribution. Obviously, they're way better than Retribution, whatever it was. I just got another notification. I just wanted to check. It was nothing. But again, I thought this was great stuff. And again, really fluid wrestling from these two. Which again, I thought the original idea was going to be Gargano and Loomis, but it wasn't. But again, the action was crisp here. And we got some really awesome moments where, again, Johnny Gargano is not up to size with Bronson Reed, but he still works around it. And they went outside. Austin Theory got involved a little bit here. The ending was really good. Again, Austin Theory got involved at one point, saving Gargano from a pinfall by putting Gargano's foot on the ropes. He played that out really well. Amazingly, Reed took Theory out with a suicide dive of his own, which is amazing to see because again of his size. Reed followed that up with an attempted reverse moonsault from the top rope. An impressive side. Gargano rolled out of the way, and then he hit two over the top rope DDTs for the win. Pretty much the same exact way he beat Kushida last time. I wouldn't say this match was as good as the one against Kushida at Vengeance Day, which is still one of my favorite matches of the year so far. This was still pretty damn good. JP, thoughts on the match?
Johnny Gargano can have a match with a broomstick and make it look good. Like, this might be hyperbole, but he's definitely one of the best in-ring performers that NXT has seen. Like, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or anything, but this was another really good match. I think this is the best Bronson Reed has looked. Now, my problem is, if not now, then when? If not Reed, then who? Who's going to beat Johnny Gargano? Because now He has beaten Isaiah Swerve Scott. He's beaten Leon Ruff. He's beaten Kushida. He's beaten Bronson Reed. He's beaten Dexter Loomis. Those are 5 people in that division. Who's going to be the one to beat him? I don't think Dexter Loomis gets the title. I don't think Cameron Grimes or LA Knight gets the title. There's one name that I was thinking about that was mentioned on Twitter after the match, and I'm like, oh, this would be a banger. And I think they've been saving it for fans. Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano versus Pete Dunne for the NXT North American title. Absolutely.
That would be a 5-star match if I ever heard one.
Like, you got to make that match. So
even if it's heel,
I don't care. It's just wrestle. If I was Triple H, I'd be like, here's 20 minutes and a ring. Go. Like, y'all can do it. But I'm a little worried about where the North American title division is, just because Johnny Gargano has beaten almost everybody. But it was a very good match.
Yeah, it was great. Again, a really underrated one when talking about WrestleMania week and weekend with the 2 pay-per-views. I thought it was great. And maybe Bronson Reed will get another one again in that 8-man tag match. It was Loomis and it was Reed, so maybe they'll get another shot at it. Again, Austin Theory did get involved a lot here in this match, so maybe this, like, it's not totally clean how he won, but still, I think that maybe it's not the end for Reed there, but we'll see in the future. We get to the NXT title match. Finn Balor defending his title against Karrion Kross, and these guys have been having an interesting feud going up to this match, and what resulted is a new NXT champion, Karrion Kross, adding those points. We both thought that was going to happen, ending a title run for Finn Balor that was, to me, incredible. Every single match that was a title match, it was a banger. The way he won it, he defeated Adam Cole. Even that Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match, remember that? That was a long time ago, but that was awesome. He defeated Adam Cole. And then he had the 2 matches against Kyle O'Reilly, the first one being my match of the year last year. He had the one against Pete Dunne, which is I'm trying to think of this weekend. I think it's still my favorite match of the year this year. And then he had another one against Adam Cole where Kyle O'Reilly didn't get involved, but other than that match was really good as well. And then now this one. Is this one my favorite title match in Balor's reign so far? It's not. However, this is really good, and to me, Karrion Kross's best match on NXT so far in his stint, easily. And I think Kross honestly needed this match. We've been seeing a lot of squash matches, him showing off his power, but really we saw what Karrion Kross is really made of here. But it was a really good match. I wouldn't say it was, again, elite level, but it was really good there as well. And again, when it went a pretty much long time here, Balor said that Kross's emotions would get to him. It did at some points, but we really saw technical stuff here. At the end there, Balor, he tried to use that abdominal stretch that really got out a lot of people. And then after that, he hit the coup de grace, and he applied it one more time. Kross powers out, hits the Cyto suplex on Balor, and then hits that forearm smash for the win, new NXT champion. JP, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was good, but I thought it was also near the bottom of my favorite NXT matches from Stand and Deliver. Like, I don't know. It just, something didn't click. Like, I feel like the story they're trying to tell, it was a little too late near the end. I feel like it was kind of slow. But I don't know, man. I thought it was good. It was a good match. But it's definitely at the bottom of title defenses or title matches that Finn Balor's had since returning to NXT. I also think this was Karrion Kross's best match in NXT, which is really weird to say, but he's had a bunch of squash matches outside of the Santos Escobar fight, which I thought was really good. I'm curious to see where Finn Balor goes, because there's not really much else for him to do unless you want to make him like a Grand Slam NXT champion, because he's already won the tag titles, I think. No.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah, he did. I think
that's the Dusty Cup.
They won the Dusty Cup, but I don't think they won the tag titles.
Right.
He hasn't won a North American title yet. So unless they want to make him Grand Slam champion, then he can do that. But I feel like this Finn Balor would go over really well with fans on the main roster. Because this Finn
You
Balor
know
has an
me.
edge, you know? Like, he's a lot less. I hate to say it like this. He's not soft anymore. He was kind of soft the first time on the main roster. This Finn Balor has a grittiness to him. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. That he could stay on the NXT. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. Karrion Kross, he's entering that point where now you're champion. Who's going to step up next? Is he going to be able to continue to keep up that pace of good to great matches that NXT champions have had? I'm not so sure because I feel like Karrion Kross still needs I think he needs a new finisher. The forearm smash to the back of the head is too clunky and feels kind of lame, the setup. Like, it's obvious,
Well, here's the thing, right? He just added that forearm smash, I feel, recently. He has 3 finishing moves. That forearm smash, which I agree with you, not the greatest one. The Saito suplex, which to me is just the back suplex, which I don't think is that great. He has the cross jacket, which he hasn't really used in a while. And that's it.
I feel like the reason he doesn't use the cross jacket is the same reason that Matt Riddle stopped using the bro mission, the submission move he had.
The
It
bro
looks
mission.
it looks a lot like the Oscar lock. So,
Yep.
and this is me just speculating. There's
Right.
no like credibility to this. I'm not a wrestling insider. I'll leave that to Sean Ross Sapp, but maybe they said Asuka's one of our more popular wrestlers and she used this finisher, so maybe you just got to change it up. And which is also kind of weird because 1,001 wrestlers use super kicks. Like Dolph Ziggler has made a career off of being Diet Shawn Michaels. So, I feel like he can use a cross jack as submission, but something he can't keep using that forearm smash. I feel like it's kind of clunky, kind of lame. But I'm definitely intrigued to see who steps up next.
I think that when it comes to the main title scene, it is very, very shallow of who is there. We'll talk about a possible person later with this one match left into this card. But it's really I mean, besides, I mean, I'll just say it, right? I mean, I guess Kyle O'Reilly is in there. But
Well,
but even beside, but I to me, and we'll talk about the unsanctioned match. I feel he's gonna be a part of that feud for a little bit. So who
I'm
really is there to face?
I'm not excited about this, and I don't want this to happen. But there is a wrestler who's been off TV for a long time. I feel like it's name redacted now, but once he's back healthy, probably gonna see Velveteen Dream in that main title scene.
I forgot about him. Oh my god. Cross is gonna demolish him.
Yeah,
Which I mean, I
but
guess I wouldn't mind seeing, but
that's another body there, you know.
right.
But he brought what happened to him upon himself. So I don't know, really.
There
Santos
really isn't anybody.
Santos Escobar.
Yeah.
That I could realistically see that because of the street fight. I could realistically see him gunning for the NXT title.
I just don't see Cross losing it for a while. I think.
Okay.
Um
He was in the audience. I think it was day 1 or day 2. What if they fast track Gable Stevenson?
I don't think they're gonna do that.
I don't know, man. He's been called the next Brock Lesnar. Like,
They're
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
fast track this guy to the main title.
I don't
Pete
know,
Dunne.
man. I feel like Pete Dunne has already had that title shot, and I feel like he's gonna go after Johnny Gargano.
Man, there really isn't anybody, huh?
There really isn't, unless they do Walter, and I would not mind that at all. Now, don't make it a title unification. Don't make it
No, don't do that. No.
But they could do a title versus title, maybe not a unification where they're bringing together the belts as one, but
Yeah,
they could do a title for title.
let's do it. Let's do
I
it.
wouldn't mind that at all.
And Walter, listen, I think Walter is locked in for an NXT title reign. I wouldn't even talk about main roster yet, but like I think that he's obviously the sky's the limit for him.
Maybe
Um,
Bronson Reed.
okay, maybe.
Um, Once Dexter Loomis gets out of this story with the way,
I don't think
maybe.
he's gonna be a main title picture scene. Maybe. I don't. I mean, let's just move on because now I'm hurting my head because I'm getting depressed because I really don't. There really isn't anybody unless they do again. Just briefly talk about Finn Balor. I mean, everybody knows how I feel about Finn Balor. He's like my favorite wrestler, literally, right now. I want him to go to the main roster, and that's being selfish because I know he said in the past that it's easier to work in NXT because of the schedule. But that was before the pandemic, I feel so. But still, I really want. It's a shame, and again, I'm gonna say this like because with Samoa Joe, right, who just got released, it is a shame that he's never had a world title run. And it seemed like maybe we were gonna get that if he came back. It's a shame that Finn Balor never had a true title run with the Universal title or the WWE Championship. What is that smile on your face? It seems like is it the thing
Okay, so MJF just tweeted a few simple words. Just said, "Stop posting the GIF." And the GIF that he's talking about is Samoa Joe pushing him out the way.
Right.
You know what? I'm slowly talking myself into Samoa Joe and AEW, and
Okay.
I think it'd work. It would work. I would enjoy it.
So real quick, he posted 3 minutes ago. Samoa Joe. He just said "Be well," and it was a GIF of him like kind of Jim Carrey, kind of bowing. He also this happened 25 minutes ago. CM Punk.
Oh yeah, I
CM
saw
Punk
that.
tweeted out in a GIF the scene of Dave Chappelle playing Rick James, and he's at Eddie Murphy's brother's house, Charlie Murphy, and he's putting dirt on the couch. And Samoa Joe responds saying they really should have never gave me money. And then CM Punk responds with effed up and paid us. Samoa Joe, man. And those two obviously had an amazing match, right? At Ring of Honor. So let's just move on though. We'll go to the main event here. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in an unsanctioned match. This is the main event. The whole night, the way that they set this up, they had an amazing video package before this. Absolutely amazing. It showed their history in New Japan and Ring of Honor. They showed their friendship. Awesome production on there. Again, I think I described it that it was literally the cinematography looked like a Zack Snyder movie. It looked great. And the way that they set us up with the whole security separating them, and when they were doing ring introductions, the security was amazing. The lights, that big screen they put in the back where it had the skull and their names in big letters. I'm just and they had an unsanctioned match. Obviously, I'm gonna say who won. Kyle O'Reilly won. He beat Adam Cole here. I predicted this to be my favorite match of the year. It is my favorite match of the year. I thought it was incredible. And it reached my expectations, exceeded them. The one thing I will say about this match, which maybe I'm not, I don't think I'm going to give it a 5-star match. Maybe it's definitely close, 4.75 maybe. The reason why, it's not even part of the match. The theme songs they gave Adam Cole
Oh my
and Kyle
god.
O'Reilly going to the ring was the most generic thing I've ever heard. I really hope they change it. For a minute, Adam Cole's almost sounded like his Ring of Honor one for a quick second, but it wasn't. I forgot what that song was. It was like something about you or something like that.
Something for you. Something for you. That's what it was.
Right. It was just those. It was really bad. It almost took me out a little bit. I'm like, oh man, it's just a guitar riff for Kyle O'Reilly. That's it. I know he does the air guitar, but man, really bad. And obviously, for Adam Cole, you could see he was expecting the boom in his, maybe because he was too used to that theme song, but he just did the boom randomly and did the Adam Cole baby, which is great, obviously. But I love when the song had the boom thing. So it was sad. It was just sad to see it. It honestly just, you saw that they were breaking up, whatever. But again, what resulted in it was just an absolutely Fantastic match for this. They started off really quick. They went at each other. First off, and Adam Cole went out of the ring. He brought a chair in, and Cole smashing it over the back of Kyle O'Reilly. And then they did a spot where O'Reilly did a butterfly suplex to Cole on the chair, transitioned straight into a leg lock, and they were both fighting that leg lock for so long. It was a great moment there. And then it was some really awesome, innovative, creative spots here. Kyle O'Reilly brought in a chain into the ring, tied it onto the top rope, and then obviously they worked around it. Cole dropped O'Reilly onto it with a neck breaker. O'Reilly wrapped the chain over his foot and kicked Cole in the head several times. It was great. My favorite part with the chain is when Cole smartly kind of clotheslined. He lifted up the chain and Kyle O'Reilly ran into it and he tripped. Awesome stuff. And, right in his neck too, right in the injured neck. They went outside. O'Reilly suplexed Cole onto the announcer's table. He did the brain buster, which he was going to do on the steps. He hesitated because it seemed like he didn't want to hurt him that much, maybe because it's still a friendship thing. But he did it on the announce table. And then one of my favorite parts when I thought it was just a small moment in the match, but really you knew this was very serious when Cole was going through the timekeeper's table. He just got a TV monitor and smashed it across the face of Kyle O'Reilly. Oh my god! I was like, oh my god! And obviously, I mean, both of these guys were just great. They ended back in the ring. Cole chucks a tire iron into the ring and tried to hit O'Reilly with it.
The tire iron. I was like, oh my god!
He was going through the toolbox too. He was like, oh, let's see what I can use here. Put a tire iron in, okay? He tried to hit O'Reilly with it. O'Reilly countered, hit a brain buster. He then takes the chain, still attached to the top rope. He uses it for submissions. He did an armbar and a triangle with it as well. Cole was passing out. I found this to be interesting. He was passing out, right? And usually the ref calls the match. I'm not sure if it nowadays, because they used to kind of do the thing where they lift up their arm 3 times, and if they don't lift it up, then they call the match. Now, if you're knocked out, you call the match. The ref was doing that for Cole, and he kind of got back in there. He grabbed the tire arm and clubbed O'Reilly with it. It was bad. And to break the submission. They do a strike exchange. And Cole, what did he do? He does a low blow on him. What a bastard heel that he is. Excuse me. He then hit O'Reilly with a great looking super kick, obviously for a near fall there. And then Cole, and the ref was just telling him don't do it. And Cole just strikes him right in the face. He lands a Panama Sunrise on O'Reilly. He pins him 1, 2, 3. There's no ref though. So O'Reilly rolls out of the ring, it leading to Cole following him. The two brawl outside. O'Reilly locks in a standing guillotine, and then Cole says, "Yeet," and he yeets himself onto the stage and both crash stage. And then Cole gets out of the stage, but O'Reilly is just knocked out. I found this to be hilarious because in the ramp, he kicked the ramp on the side, and you see the dust and shit, and he brings him out. They get back in the ring. Cole sets up his last shot, but O'Reilly is too exhausted. It was just a great moment too. Yeah, he was setting up the Shining Wizard. And he's standing up on his knees, but Cole O'Reilly is just so messed up. He just collapses. And I thought that was a really a small, subtle moment, but really good. Cole tries again. O'Reilly dodges it and gets Cole in a leg lock. Cole grabs the chain, hits O'Reilly straight in the face to escape with it. He tries a Panama Sunrise. O'Reilly counters. He hits a penalty kick and a last shot up near pinfall. He kicks out. I didn't think that was going to happen. Literally 2.9. He kicks out. The ref's hands was right on the mat. And then they were battling on the top turnbuckle. O'Reilly himself hits a low blow and then wraps a chain around his leg and did a knee strike from the top rope onto Cole, whose neck was on a chair. And then O'Reilly pins him for the 1, 2, 3. Incredible. JP, what'd you think?
I thought this match was absolutely bananas. I feel like more weapons were used in this unsanctioned match than any of the other NXT unsanctioned matches. And I think that's a really good choice because Kyle O'Reilly isn't exactly the guy. I don't think his moveset complements well an unsanctioned match because he's more mat based. So using weapons was a really good choice in my opinion. I do feel like there were some points where the match kind of dragged a bit. And looking at the cage match stats, I kind of laughed when I saw it. The match went 40 minutes. And that is more power to Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole for putting themselves through that for 40 minutes.
Was it really 40 minutes long?
40 minutes and 22 seconds.
So I've seen people on, again, because there's obviously some people. I mean, they like the match, but they maybe went about the length. You tell me that I'm surprised. I didn't think it went that long. It went by
Yeah,
fast
it
for
felt
me.
like it went by fast at some points, but some
Right.
points were like it kind of dragged on. But all the spots with the chain and the tire iron were so well done. So I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite matches. It's not. I wouldn't say it's my favorite match of the year, but it's definitely up there. I think it was really fun. I thought it was real brutal. The story that was being told was great. Kyle O'Reilly not even being able to get his shoulder up or get up for Adam Cole to do the Shining Wizard was an amazing touch. And then Kyle O'Reilly doing the last shot on him was really good. That knee drop through the chair, I screamed when it happened because, like, dude, that was awesome. Um, it was really fun, really brutal. I honestly want to see more matches like I'm not gonna say like real like gimmick matches, but I do want to see more gimmick matches in NXT. Like
Right.
the fight pit is awesome. Please bring it back. Unsanctioned matches, keep doing them. I'm going to keep asking for Inferno matches and matches with fire because I think it's awesome. First blood matches. Come on. Um, I do still kind of hold out the hope that they will do a Hell in a Cell. Like I feel like if there was any rivalry outside of Gargano Champa that could use a Hell in a Cell, it's this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, for me personally, like it's definitely my personal favorite match of the year. And I think looking on to, we'll talk about WrestleMania literally in a bit. Probably my favorite match of WrestleMania week and weekend. I just loved it. Again, it's because more so obviously the story built within it was great. Obviously, these two guys, we knew we were gonna get this. The question is if we're gonna get multiple of these matches, right? You know, which by the way, on NXT, there's amazing footage of them both being get it onto stretchers, and Adam Cole is consistently talking shit to him as he's on a stretcher, as he got beat his ass too. And he's just absolutely just shit talking O'Reilly on the stretcher. It was great.
That was a great
Um,
touch.
it was great. And again, I would think that we're going to see more of these too, which makes me believe again. I feel like this is just to get O'Reilly in that main title picture, personally for me. So we'll see. But to me, incredible match. Again, you said 40 minutes. It went by fast for me. Um, I was gonna say something I forgot, but now that's NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. We're both tied right now, 8-8 going into WrestleMania. So we'll see. I honestly don't even know who wins. I didn't count before, so it's gonna be a surprise for me if we're tied. I feel like the last pay per views I counted we were tied all the time. So we're looking for a tiebreaker here. So we're going on to WrestleMania now. But overall, NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, amazing events. It was really good both nights. Again, to me, Cole and O'Reilly took the cake there, but Walter and Ciampa was just too good to not
Walter and
mention.
Ciampa was definitely my favorite of the night, or favorite of NXT Takeover, just from the physicality alone.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. And again, like you said, I think I remember I was going to say the whole Hell in a Cell thing. I think it would be great for O'Reilly and Cole. We'll see if they do it. Okay, WrestleMania time. Talk about night one here. And again, we'll update you if there's any more news on the releases. There hasn't been so far, thank God. I don't want anybody losing their jobs. But let's go to night one here and talking about the opening of it. The first night was delayed about 30 minutes because of rain. It was raining terribly in Tampa that weekend. Obviously, out of all the weekends to rain terribly, of course, it was WrestleMania weekend.
God was getting revenge for Backlash 06.
Yep. I love that joke, by the way, so much because I know everybody's been saying that. It's true. God was trying to get Vince McMahon, but for some reason, you can't beat Vince McMahon. It's the show's going to go on.
The devil works hard, but Vince works harder.
Yeah, right. But again, just seeing even the environment that people are in the stands, it was so great to see. Again, the first live show for WWE since last March, February, maybe was the last show, maybe.
I think you're right. It might have been it wasn't the Rumble. That's the last one I feel like.
I know for sure they had Elimination Chamber live in front of crowds.
That's the last one. The last one was Elimination Chamber.
Was that it? It wasn't even like a Raw. Makes sense. Um, so again, the first live show since then, and it was really awesome to see fans there. The set was incredible, obviously with the pirate ship and stuff like that. Spoiler alert: no one jumped off the pirate ship. Sad face emoji. But the opening match was Bobby Lashley defending his title against Drew McIntyre. And I am not going to award any points here. We both thought that Drew McIntyre was going to leave WrestleMania with the title because we want to give him his WrestleMania moment. However, we both wanted Lashley to win. He won. So let's talk about this here. Again, a pretty damn good match. Again, I talked about their match last Backlash in 2020, a really underrated title match for Drew McIntyre against Bobby Lashley. Really, it was a really good match, except for the ending with Lana, and that was the whole part of the thing. But they had another match here at WrestleMania, and a really good one. Two big men, slapping their bodies against each other. That's Vince's dream, and that's pretty much what we got opening the show. I think it was the right call, opening the show with this title match. But it was really good. Again, we both saw the dominance between these two guys. But again, at the end, Drew McIntyre went for a Claymore kick, and he was distracted by MVP. Turned to him. He turned it. It lost his momentum. He went for it still, but Lashley ducks, and he then turns that into the hurt lock, and Drew McIntyre passed out. Called the bell. I was shocked. Definitely shocked for me. JP, thoughts on the match?
I didn't think they were going to give Bobby Lashley his moment. I'm going to be straight up and say I wanted him to win, but I did not think WWE was going to have him win at WrestleMania. I thought it was a fairly good match, honestly. I saw a lot of people saying like it didn't really work for me, and I'm like, I understand, but I kind of disagree. I thought it worked really well. The physicality, of course, you're going to get that with Drew and Bobby. Drew being able to do a tope con hilo at 265 pounds is absolutely insane. Like, it was awesome to see. I like that MVP did the distraction the way he did, because normally you see a lot of heel managers that get up on the ring and they do it. But no, he just yelled. And I think that was real smart, because then you couldn't get thrown out by the ref for getting involved, but you were still kind of getting involved. I want this title reign for Bobby Lashley to continue as long as it needs to. Like, just keep having him beat up people until we get to the final boss, Brock Lesnar. I want it. I need it. SummerSlam 2021, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Do it, please. But honestly, when I was checking the cage match, this match went 18 minutes and 19 seconds. I didn't think it was that long. I honestly thought it felt like it was going by faster than it actually was. So more credit to them, and I'm really glad Bobby got his moment.
Same here. Listen, I feel like the crowd was definitely cheering for him as much as maybe they didn't want him. They didn't want him to, but again, everybody's rooting for Bobby to have a really good reign here. And again, a really good match, like you said. The distraction was kind of weird though. Well, no, it was good, but the way that Drew reacted was kind of weird. He just kind of like he was running to do the Claymore. He just stopped, turned to MVP, turned back, tried to do it again, and then obviously he misses. So I guess maybe Bobby Lashley didn't win the cleanest, but to me, he won pretty clean against Drew McIntyre, and that's it's a great rub right there. So, to me, awesome that Bobby Lashley got his moment there at WrestleMania. I know hopefully it's a long title reign. The Raw after Mania, we're skipping a couple days here. Drew McIntyre beat Braun Strowman and Randy Orton to face Lashley again at WrestleMania Backlash. That is the name of the pay-per-view. So we'll see if he gets his moment there. I think, and let's talk about this because, my father had a great idea for this, and I put this on Twitter afterwards. Actually, no, I'm gonna save it a little bit. I'm gonna save it for the main event. But Drew McIntyre lost. Bobby Lashley is still your WWE champion. A really good match. Tag team turmoil: Naomi and Lana versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Tamina versus the Riot Squad versus Carmella and the just released Billie Kay, who again maybe they knew that they were releasing her, giving her one more WrestleMania moment. No, well, not even moment. Her one more WrestleMania appearance. So what happens here? So we get Carmella. Billie Kay, Naomi, and Lana starting the match. As obviously we see Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler watching. Obviously, the winner of this match faces Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler tomorrow, or the day after, for the tag team titles. Billie Kay actually managed to pin Naomi when Carmella sat behind her. And then they at least got one win. And then we see the Riot Squad come out. The Riot Squad get on a nice little streak here. Obviously, by the way, I once again we were both wrong on this one. I had the Riot Squad. JP had Naomi and Lana, and so no points given there. But the Riot Squad did get on a little streak, and I was very excited, hopefully, to see them win and maybe win the titles the next day. However, even though they performed really well against Brooke and Rose, which by the way, Mandy Rose slipped on her way to the stage. Pretty funny moment, and of course they buried it to the ground on Monday. And then Tamina and Natalia came out, and obviously they put down the Riot Squad there to win. So Natalia and Tamina win. It wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible either. It was fine. I liked seeing kind of, the Riot Squad kind of get their moment. It was almost Shinsuke Nakamura level. We're like, oh my God, are we really going to see him win? Are we really going to see him get kind of go the full way? The Riot Squad did not. JP, thoughts on the tag team turmoil match?
It was kind of I was really disappointed that the Riot Squad didn't win, and I was disappointed that Naomi and Lana didn't win because I knew I'd get points for that. But it felt kind of meh. You had some pretty cool moments. I think I said on Twitter when it happened that I think the Riot Squad has the most coherent tag moves in the women's tag division, which is why they should be women's tag champions. So it would just make sense for them to win. But I'm not sold on Natalia and Tamina as a tag team personally because you haven't given me a reason to care about Natalia or Tamina. But I mean, it was kind of There were some parts in the match that were kind of weird, but there are some cool spots in there. So I thought it was all right for what it was worth, given that they made this match like literally the day before.
Yeah, listen, I mean, obviously, I just think the Riot Squad really should have won, and I'm not even saying that because I think they're because I'm a huge fan of the Riot Squad. It's more so again like I feel like that people want the Riot Squad to go in and at least get a shot at the titles at WrestleMania. And you put Natalia and Tamina there again. People were pretty crazy there for Tamina, the crowd, which is great to see. Obviously, Tamina's great, but yeah, it wasn't that great. Again, it wasn't terrible either. But it's a kind of standard match. And again, Natalia and Tamina won. We both didn't get that one correct. So we move on to the next match. And after that, after the tag team turmoil match, we get Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, a match that me and JP were super excited for going into this one. We thought that this one could steal the whole card. It could be like on the level of Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels versus Jericho. You name the non-title matches here, and it was great. It was a great match. However, the one thing this is going to be a trend throughout this WrestleMania for these non-title matches. It was short. If you can maybe pull up the time here for this one, I was going to pull it up, but I forgot to be honest with you.
I got you.
This one maybe was 11 minutes. Maybe?
11 minutes, 27 seconds.
Come on, man. And I know again, there's a time you want to finish the whole event. It's a 7-match day, whatever. Man, I wish they got more. But again, what we got in the match was great. Literally in the opening of the belt, Cesaro tried to swing twice in the opening moments of the match. Rollins managed to avoid it. Started his spinning European uppercut, dropkick Rollins as he was seated on the top rope. Rollins was able to cut off the early flurry of Cesaro, attacking the arm here. Rollins hit a superplex into the Falcon Arrow for a near fall. Rollins was really targeting the arm here of Cesaro, so he can't swing. And Cesaro was actually going to do a swing, but he cut it off again because of the arm. And then Rollins, he did a twisting splash off the top rope. I mean, I really haven't seen that before, so that was really cool to see. But, we get to the end here, and Cesaro follows up a swing, which he did 23 times. He beat his record of 22.
Yes, sir.
Did 23. He went to the neutralizer and wins. JP, thoughts on the match?
Hey, man, I really didn't notice the match time because I thought this was one of my favorite matches of WrestleMania. It was awesome just seeing these two guys go in the ring because it was two of the best in the world at what they do. Cesaro definitely was going to get the win here. Awesome moment for Cesaro, getting that win, his first singles win at WrestleMania and his first singles match at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. What a moment. The match was awesome. Now, I really don't really mind the time as much. I thought they did like amazing with the time they were given, you know? There was, I think, my favorite spot from the match. It wasn't subtle, but when Seth Rollins went for the stomp and Cesaro popped him up and hit him with the uppercut, like he like jumped off his neck and Cesaro just bam right in the face. I was like,
When will Rollins learn that it usually at WrestleMania when you do the curve stomp, it's gonna get reversed into something. He did that with
dude,
Randy Orton, and now it's happening with Cesaro. It was great. It was a great moment.
that Randy Orton reversal is my favorite RKO ever. This
Great.
Cesaro reversal to uppercut looked so stiff, so brutal. Um, and you know what? I said it on a preview show. This felt like a number one contenders match for the Universal title. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a de facto number one contenders match for the Universal title. I don't hate it at all. So I thought it was a fantastic match. The time they were given, I don't really mind how long they went, but it was great.
In my opinion, again, to me, it kind of what we were talking about with the Cole and O'Reilly match, where to me 40 minutes went by really fast for me. This one went by really quickly. It felt brief, but again, like you said, what we were giving inside that match was great stuff. Again, I just wish they went on a little bit longer, but good nonetheless against Cesaro. A much needed win there at WrestleMania, and hopefully, maybe this is a sign of the good things to come for Cesaro. Hopefully, maybe the main title picture. I would love to see him and Roman go at it. We'll see what happens. Or excuse me, the winner of the triple threat match, whoever that may be. Raw Tag Team Championship match up next. The New Day taking on AJ Styles and Omos. And I'm just gonna put the our score there because we both thought we're gonna get new champions. Too much to the delight of me, maybe not too much to JP. Obviously, New Day, a fan right there. I love the New Day too, but man, this was a fun one. We'll talk about real quick. Omos was gonna start the match, but then Styles did. So it was Styles and Kofi Kingston. A lot of this match was honestly, I mean, Styles got some stuff in, but they were really targeting and isolating Styles a lot throughout this match. But let's go to the good part, man. Omos gets in the ring, and my God, he absolutely destroyed the New Day. And props to the New Day too, though. They sold the hell out of Omos. They made him really look like a monster. So they tag Omos in. He stares down Woods, and Woods hit some leg kicks and a drop kick. Nothing worked. But Omos laughed while he was working over the two guys. Omos drilled Kingston with that two-handed choke bomb and put his foot over the body to pin him. By the way, that shot of Kofi Kingston after he took that, I thought he died. He was eyes wide open. It was kind of scary. It was to watch him do that, but and obviously, foot on the chest. 1, 2, 3. Omos and AJ Styles are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. AJ Styles, a Grand Slam champion in WWE now with this win. And just like JP said, it was really fast. I think he did it like in 5 years. But really good stuff here. Again, is Omos. I mean, from the stuff he did, it was great. JP, thoughts on the match?
This was a very good match psychologically. Like the storytelling they were doing was the New Day were cocky and they thought they were going to be able to isolate AJ forever and retain the tag titles. Once Omos got in, they knew Omos was too physically imposing for them to handle. So they tried to isolate AJ Styles, but then when Omos got into the ring, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. I think the dynamics between AJ Styles, Omos, and the New Day were great. The New Day, once again, I'll keep saying it. They're the greatest WWE tag team of all time. They're the greatest faction of all time. I'm willing to hear debate about it, but I don't think that I'll respectfully disagree. But the New Day, they served their purpose in this, and I'm not really mad at it at all. I thought AJ Styles had the fastest path to the Grand Slam championship, but then I was informed that Kurt Angle did it in 2 years. So that man is a machine. But shout out to AJ Styles for being a Grand Slam champion. It was a fun match. It was a good one. A sneaky good.
Nah, definitely agree. Was it the best tag match of night one? It was not. and we'll talk about the other one. But in my opinion, anyways, but it was a good one. Again, rightful winners in my opinion. AJ becomes a Grand Slam champion. I just think it's interesting his kind of camaraderie with Omos, and we'll see where this goes. But we move on to this next match, and this was a match I was not excited for at all.
I don't think anybody was excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I really have not seen, because there's always contrarians, right? There's always people that have different opinions. I have not seen one person say that they have enjoyed what's been going on with Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. It's been bad, but a steel cage match at WrestleMania, and JP, man, it wasn't that bad. Entertaining. I'm sorry. It was. Was it the best match of the card? No. Far from it. Was it the best match of WrestleMania weekend? Nope. Far from it. Man, entertaining. How long was this match? I think I have it right in front of me. This match was 11 minutes. That's a great time for this.
It was literally 1 second. It went 1 second longer than Cesaro and Seth Rollins.
You know what? That actually makes me a little angry. However, but still, again, it's a steel cage match. Come on, JP. Okay, I'll let you hear your thoughts here. I'm going to go through it a little bit of what happened. Before the match, when Braun Strowman was coming into the ring, Elias and Jackson Ryker did attack him beforehand, and they also put steel chairs who they handed to Shane McMahon in the ring, and Strowman, he managed to stop McMahon from an early escape there in the beginning. McMahon managed to grab a sheet of metal from the top of the cage. You saw he had stuff on the top of the cage, like some sort of toolboxes and shit like that he was using against Strowman. But let me fast forward to the end here. They go to the top of the cage, and Strowman hoists McMahon on top of the cage. He climbs up himself, and he throws McMahon back into the ring on the top of the cage. McMahon does a flip in the air onto the ring. This man is 51 years old, by the way. You gotta respect Shane sometimes. But again, and then Strowman follows McMahon up into the ring, hits a running power slam with force for the 3. And again, 11-minute match. Again, I thought it was entertaining. I didn't hate this. I was watching and I'm like, okay. I think I said this before too. It's maybe the match at WrestleMania won't be terrible, but still you can't deny that the build was still pretty awful and a waste of time. It still was. But I didn't hate this match. JP, give me your thoughts on this. Did you hate this match?
All right.
Did you like this match? What do you think?
All right. So I'm going to view this match like I viewed Batman versus Superman. I thought it was fine. It served its purpose.
If this match was Batman v Superman, I would think it would be the best match I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know if I would say that. Obviously, your opinion on the movie, but
it served its purpose. All we wanted to see was Shane McMahon get thrown off of something really high. And that's exactly what happened. So I was watching it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. It passes. I wouldn't say it was one of the best matches of the night. I think it was far from it. But it served its purpose. We got to see Braun throw Shane off the top of a cage. Shane did all the signature spots, like the coast to coast. He did the dancing punches. His punches look terrible still after 20 years in the business.
Oh, can I say one thing that was great? It was a good moment. I hate to say it. I wouldn't say I popped when this happened, but it was still a good moment. I think when Shane was about to leave the cage and Strowman just literally rips the cage off.
That was my favorite part of the match.
That was cool.
Rip the cage apart. We need more Braun Strowman stuff like that.
Yes,
I want him to just destroy stuff.
Yeah.
That's when he's in his bag. Just destroying buildings. But like I said, it served its purpose. Thought it was fine. I enjoyed seeing Shane get thrown off of really high buildings.
And hopefully, again, I was really scared that because people were predicting this, and I honestly almost saw it, which it was when they said that Strowman was going to throw Shane off the cage onto the announce table, and Shane would technically win and kind of continue the whole stupid storyline thing. By the way, we forgot to mention this, that when the 30-minute rain delay happened in the beginning, they went off the dome with these promos in the beginning, and a lot of them were great. I just always find it funny when hearing Strowman and hearing the reason why he's doing this match. I'm doing this match for all the people that have been called stupid. I don't know why, personally, for me, that is hilarious for someone to go out and say that on the mic. I am fighting for everybody that's been called stupid in their lives. Thanks, Strowman. I've been called stupid sometimes.
This for
But
everybody that's been bullied. Bro, you are 6'8", 385. Just punch somebody.
yeah, just punch somebody. And again, by the way, Strowman wins this. So again, less said about this match, the better. I just thought it was fine, entertaining, my opinion. If I watched WrestleMania, am I gonna rewatch this match back? I don't think so. If I have 11 minutes to spare,
Yeah,
maybe.
It's not like I'm not gonna go out my way and say, "Oh, I need to watch that Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon steel cage match."
Absolutely.
But if it comes on and I got time, I'm not gonna skip it.
No, absolutely. And even thinking about the matches that have happened between these two pay-per-views, it definitely ranks near the bottom just because again the bill was terrible and it wasn't the best steel cage match I've ever seen. Again, it had some cool spots in there. That's it. Strowman wins. Hopefully, we're done with this bullshit and we move on. Excuse my vulgar language. Moving on, we have Bad Bunny and Damian Priest going against The Miz and John Morrison. JP, this is great. This is great.
God.
And you think about celebrity matches recently, even you think about Shaq's appearance in that tag team match with Jade Cargill versus Cody and Red Velvet. You think about Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole. You go all the way to WrestleMania. I'm forgetting what it was when it was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor in the main event.
Oh, I think that was WrestleMania 11.
It sounds right. That sounds right.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
That does sound right, though. Again, you get a lot of these. I mean, obviously the first two WrestleManias with Mr. T, Piper facing Mr. T in a boxing match at WrestleMania 2, Mr. T and Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper WrestleMania 1. You think of celebrity matches.
Yep, it was WrestleMania 11, and then William the Refrigerator Perry was in a battle royal at WrestleMania 2 or 3.
I think that yeah. So there's been a lot of celebrity matches. Floyd Mayweather versus Big Show. You go on and on. I'd argue this ranks at the top. What Bad Bunny does here, I mean, we know what Bad Bunny, he's had a dream of being a professional wrestler. He's been involved in WWE each and every week. I feel like I don't think he's missed a week of Raw since he debuted in WWE. That's how motivated the guy is to actually have a momentum in there. And plus, he brings so many eyes to the WWE product, obviously with his music and stuff like that. Let's talk about this match though. Priest and Miz started off the match, but Miz demanded Bunny to tag in. Bad Bunny was in this match a long time, and again, just so much respect for this guy. And again, so Miz was taunting him. Bunny hit him with a right hand. Moments later, Miz charges at Bunny in the corner. Bunny was out of the way, lands a flurry of punches, better punches than Shane McMahon, arguably.
Definitively.
Miz is finally able to hit a knee on Bunny, though, and begin dragging Bunny around the ring before Bunny countered an arm drag by floating over and hitting one of his own. Bunny again got one over on Miz, wrapping up with a cradle for a near fall, and then he did a spinning Rana. Miz finally tagged out, and now it was Morrison tangling with Bunny. Miz struck a cheap shot while the ref wasn't looking, and then finally Morrison was really working on Bunny here. They were isolating him away from Priest. Bunny came back by getting his feet up in the corner and then hitting Miz with a tornado DDT before making that hot tag to Priest. Priest comes in, running through both Miz and Morrison. He hits a side sit out chokeslam on Miz for a near fall. Priest and Bunny hit stereo Falcon arrows at the same time for a near fall. That was a great moment. Priest nails a flipping dive onto both men, and then Bunny came off the top rope with the crossbody to the outside. And then Priest took Miz back into the ring. He tried to finish things with the move to hit the lights. Miz counters into a skull crushing finale, but Bunny breaks the count. The best moment in this match, outside, Bad Bunny does a Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison. That was I popped loud.
Oh yeah,
when that happened.
Absolutely.
I just didn't see him doing that kind of. Again, obviously, I wouldn't say again fully it's him doing that move, right? Obviously, Morrison had a lot to do with it too, but still, seeing him do that move is just incredible.
90% of the main roster doesn't do a Canadian Destroyer.
I don't remember the last time I've seen a Canadian Destroyer, except for obviously Adam Cole. But I'm talking about the main roster, right? I don't think I've ever seen one. recently,
Not on the
especially.
main roster, no.
They were saving it for Bad Bunny. And again, that's what happens. So I get, he then tags back into the match, hits a crossbody on Miz, who was held on Priest's shoulders before scoring the pinfall. And Bad Bunny and Damian Priest win this. I thought this was great, man. I thought this was great. To me, it had to be my personal favorite celebrity match. This match, I'm trying to look actually up how long this match went.
It went 15 minutes, just over 15 minutes.
Hey, man, good amount of time there. I thought it was great. Again, also really awesome for Damian Priest to get a match here at WrestleMania. You could talk about what they did on Raw afterwards, but just getting that spotlight with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, getting his first win, so impressive at the show, on a showcase like that. It was great. JP, thoughts on this?
All right, so this was the best celebrity match I've ever seen. This was also one of the better matches of WrestleMania weekend. Like, I'm not being hyperbolic. Just in terms of crowd engagement, the fans popped every time Bad Bunny did a move. That's how you can tell people were engaged. People cared. And, dude, Bad Bunny looked great. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Bad Bunny again in a ring. Like, the fact that he not only did a Canadian Destroyer, he was out here doing spinning Hurricane Ranas, Falcon Arrows, the Mahi Straw Cradles, and I saw somewhere that I think Drew Gulak had a hand in training Bad Bunny at the PC, and
Adam Pearce too.
Adam Pearce and Drew Gulak, of course, two of the great like trainers. Like I said, Damian Priest getting that moment is huge for him. Just again, what a wild ride. Straight from NXT to WrestleMania. The Miz and Morrison obviously really don't hurt that much after a loss like that. But man, what a great match. Like I was like, this is great. Like I really had no problems with it. It was just a great overall match.
It was. And again, I almost agree with you. I definitely, for me, my personal favorite celebrity match, like I said, Bad Bunny was impressive. Nothing more to say. Miz and Morrison suffered another loss, but again, it was just they helped him out so much during out this match. It was just great.
And
so
like, you could tell how much Bad Bunny respects the art of professional wrestling with how much, like you said, he didn't miss a week of television. He was training every like day. That's how you can tell like someone cares about like, well, a lot of times a lot of celebrities they only show up a couple of times. They'll do the punches. They'll maybe do like a DDT or something and kind of hype up the crowd, and then the wrestler will do most of the heavy lifting. Bad Bunny was out here getting thrown around and like getting hit across the back with chairs and like guitars. You could tell how much like he cared about the business, and more power to him. And like I said, just a great match overall. I was entertained.
I was too, and that's obviously the art of WWE. Move on to the main event. Yes, the main event. Sasha Banks defending her SmackDown Women's title against Bianca Belair. This is just special, especially the opening of this match. Always we got the entrances. It was great. The pyro, everything is great. The audience interaction, just cheering loudly for this match. The both competitors get into the ring. When the bell rings, this was to me the most powerful moment of the whole weekend of the year so far. You see Bianca Belair, she's definitely tearing up. Sasha Banks, they're just taking in the moment. And I think that was a great part. Again, fans are here. They're taking in the moment. This is an historic match. Okay, not only just for women's wrestling, obviously this is the first time two black people have main evented at WrestleMania. And women, just of color. And it was historic. Michael Cole said it on commentary. And they just exceeded expectations. This was a phenomenal match.
Of course.
And again, I'm not just saying that because of the historic factor with this. Obviously, that adds to it for sure. But it was just a really good match. And again, I'm not even joking. I mean, definitely so far this year, the best women's match I've seen this year, bar none. Me personally. Is there more? I can't think of one.
The unsanctioned match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker?
No, I like this one better. Personally.
Honestly, I agree with you. I was going back and forth between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker in this one, but I think the moment, along with they didn't have any stipulations, they didn't have a lot of margin for error. They went out and delivered. Like, this was a phenomenal match. And we said it ever since she made it to the main roster. We said it in NXT. Bianca Belair is a superstar.
Yep.
Like, she can do all of the wrestling. Like, when she gorilla pressed or military pressed Sasha Banks up and then like walked up the steps
That was great.
and threw her into the ring and then did a 450.
By the way that started was that Sasha Banks did a suicide dive.
And she
then
caught her.
she caught her.
Bianca Belair is a creative player.
That's the thing, right? Is that, again, when you talk about just a regular singles match, and I'll say that I said the same thing for Cole and O'Reilly, is that, obviously wrestling's been around for such a long time. Who knows how innovative you can get? They went really innovative here, and we'll talk about a really good moment towards the end here. But again, this match pretty much had everything. It had the fast pace. It had the technicality with it as well. Again, both these competitors, and obviously, Bianca Belair is obviously the star of the show here. But we know what Sasha Banks can do in the ring. She's fabulous. She does it again. She again, even though she's like,
We
I
need
think
to
I saw.
we need to start giving Sasha Banks her due as one of the best, if not the best, women's wrestler in the world. Because she
At
can
the moment, I don't think I completely agree.
She can do every match.
Yeah.
Like, any stipulation, she can be face or heel, and you're going to get a banger from her. She is probably the best women's wrestler in the world.
Absolutely. Other points in this match as well. Belair held Banks in an extended vertical suplex, bouncing Banks off the ring ropes multiple times before finally driving her into the mat.
A creative player.
Yeah. Banks continued to try to use Belair's hair as a weapon. She tried to kind of take that out of the equation a couple times, and we saw how that ended, which we'll talk about in a little bit. My favorite moment of the match. But she tried to kind of like pull it so that she wouldn't get any momentum going, but it continued to backfire until Belair hit a standing shooting star press, which she did it standing. Brock Lesnar couldn't even do it off the top rope in WrestleMania. But she did a standing shooting star. Again, we know how athletic she is. She's great. Blair took to the air again. She tried to come off the rope with a 450 splash. Banks was able to get her knees up to counter the move at this time. Blair hit a series of power bombs, scoring a near fall. Going for a third, Banks managed to counter with a face buster. She followed with a tornado DDT, a near fall there. Another 2 count came. Banks hit a frog splash. Banks wrapped Belair's hair around Belair's arm and wrench on a submission there. Switching to a Banks statement. And as the referee neared a 5 count, she obviously didn't get it. Belair managed to get to the ropes. Banks hit a series of kicks to the head as she grew frustrated because, again, she couldn't put her away. She ran to the corner to deliver a knee strike. Belair moved out of the way before heading back to the top rope. She finally hit that 450 splash, a 2 count. Belair went for the KOD. Banks grabbed the hair again. This time, Belair got her own hair, obviously, and whipped Sasha Banks right in the ribs, and you heard the crack. It was an amazing moment.
The scar that was left there,
yes,
was absolutely insane.
It was, and again, she whipped her with it, obviously. And then they went back and forth at this time around. Belair hits the KOD with the win, clean as a whistle, beats Sasha Banks' main event, becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion. It was just a great main event. JP, thoughts on the match? More thoughts? What do you think?
Oh, man. Just the storytelling throughout with the hair. It was subtle. Like, it wasn't like a big part, but it was just them fighting over using the hair as a weapon. And then the comeuppance for Sasha Banks finally get used against her. Great touch. But, man, the moment before, the moment after she won, like, you saw Bianca Belair's dad, like, almost fall over the railing celebrating. It's just, those are WrestleMania moments. Like, we talk a lot about that's a WrestleMania moment. That's a WrestleMania moment. This was a WrestleMania moment. It's something that you can put on a poster and kids will hang up in their room and be like, yeah, I want that to happen to me. And it was just fantastic overall.
It was great. Also, one of my favorite videos coming after the fact is when people got a video of Sasha Banks afterwards. smiling, grin to grin. She was just so happy for her. It was great to see that as well. Again, had that scar from the hair whip, obviously, which is great. It was just a great match again. Definitely one of my favorite matches of the year, easily. I actually forgot where I put it. We'll check at the end now. But to me, so far, best match of WrestleMania. We get to night 2. So let's talk about night 2. And right now, going into night 2 WrestleMania, we are tied still, 13-13 going into night 2 WrestleMania. So let's see how it works out. However, we started the night with a various one. So Fiend versus Randy Orton, no stipulation. This is going to open the night. I was very worried about this one because obviously, again, I thought this would be a cinematic match, kind of like the Firefly Funhouse from last year. But I guess they wanted to take advantage of the crowd, so I guess they made it a in-ring match. The entrances was great. I mean, Orton had the nice gear on, the white trunks. It was great. Alexa Bliss comes out.
Did you notice that both Edge and Randy Orton were wearing white and red gear?
Didn't work out.
Rated RKO.
Damn, didn't work out though. But which again we'll talk about that match a little later. But again, both of those gears by the way were nice, and Randy Orton's was too. We get Alexa Bliss come out. She has just shit on around her eyes, kind of giving the effect that she's like a demon, a witch, whatever. Then, however, they cut and there's just a big jack in the box on the outside of the ring, and before that we saw the Fiend from his older self, the burnt Fiend, in this little railway in the bottom of the stage, it seemed like. And then he just magically turns into the Fiend, like the Fiend that we know and love,
Somebody said he was looking for the Weeknd from the halftime show.
Yeah, that's actually funny. No, maybe that's the same stage. Honestly, they did it on. It kind of looked the same. And then he just like turns into the. Have you guys ever seen the Super Friends when Wonder Woman kind of runs around in place and she comes into the costume? That's kind of what the Fiend did with his new thing there. And then afterwards, and then we get Alexa Bliss turning the Jack in the Box, over and over. It's a huge Jack in the Box, and then the theme hits for the Fiend. He comes out. It's great. It's honestly great.
It was fantastic, and the reason I say it was fantastic, the main reason is my baby sister was terrified, and that is exactly what I want the Fiend to be: terrifying little children and adults. But that entrance, for me, the entrance was probably the best of WrestleMania.
I agree.
It was probably the best of WrestleMania. Dude, it was awesome. Just the turning from awesome. Crispy Fiend to true Fiend mode.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
It was great. It was. And then obviously Randy Orton just looks terrified. And then as we get to this, and now the music's going on, it's great. Fans are cheering. He jumps off the top of the Jack in the Box onto Randy Orton. It was great. At this moment, I'm like, man,
Games mode.
Yes, and at this moment, I'm like, maybe I'm wrong about this match, man. No, though, this match went 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, this was just a regular singles match. Why? I don't know. So what happens here? It comes to a point where the Fiend. Orton sends the Fiend face first into the Jack in the Box. So it was pretty close to the ring. And then Orton was kind of building a momentum there. They also went outside. He does that. Well, a pretty good moment, I will say, in the match is when Orton does that back body drop onto the table. That's like his vintage move he does now. But Fiend went straight back up and just did a mandible claw on him. And it was pretty cool. But again, going back into the ring, Orton was building momentum. He tried to hit the RKO, but the Fiend countered into a mandible claw. He attempted to hit his sister Abigail, but fire shot from the ring post. Actually, before that, real quick, he did a nice little tribute to Brody Lee, because this was actually the first match I feel since Brody Lee passed.
This was his first match since Brody Lee passed away.
Yeah, because obviously he was out for a long time, obviously, because before the TLC match, that Firefly Inferno one, he did like the power bomb. He did that, he did the chant. It was great. It was awesome because again, that was the first match since he passed. But going back, the Alexa Bliss again, fire shot shoots from the ring post, and Alexa Bliss comes out of the Jack in the Box, and she has kind of like a crown on or something, and just that black blood, that black goo shooting down her face. Looks terrifying. A good image, but still terrifying. It allows, and the Fiend just goes up to her, kind of looks at her. Orton hits one singular RKO. Fiend doesn't kick out. 1, 2, 3. That's the win. And then after the match, the Fiend stares down on Alexa Bliss before the lights goes out. Come back on. Disappeared. Fans. Boo. I agree. This sucked. And listen, I mean, I've actually been we have been part of the population that has really enjoyed this feud. I know there's people out there that really have not enjoyed Fiend and the Randy Orton stuff. I think Brian Alvarez, who does stuff with Dave Meltzer, he tweeted out saying after he tweeted out after the match saying maybe like this Fiend shit sucks. I disagree, man. I've actually been really liking this feud, but I can't defend this. I personally, for me, I thought this was really just not that great. And again, for me personally, it's just like, WrestleMania, you should have the ultimate payoff, and this wasn't a payoff. In fact, I thought this would be a continuation, but then on Raw, it kind of wasn't though. But JP, I want to get your thoughts on this. Did you like this? Did you not like this? What'd you think?
What was that? Like, that was my reaction. I was like, what even happened? First off, one RKO. The Fiend came back from being burnt alive. And then like a couple weeks before WrestleMania, he took an RKO and got right back up. So what happened in between then to make him suddenly vulnerable to one singular RKO? And like that would pin him. I don't know. I'm just confused on this Alexa Bliss thing. They kind of explained it a little bit on Raw, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get it a little bit. But man, I don't know. And there's a section of wrestling Twitter that's like deep into the Fiend lore, which I didn't know existed. And they're like, you have to understand the lore of the Fiend to really get this. And I'm like, dude, the Fiend has only been around for like 2 years. There is no lore. Like, what am I?
My question for that is, well, actually, real quick, because I think I missed that segment on Raw. I only saw the picture of like that puppet that she has, which is like the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. What was she saying on Raw? Was she just kind of saying like she's done with the Fiend? Like, what was happening?
She said the darkness had like become weak, and like she didn't need the darkness anymore.
Okay. I saw the Firefly Funhouse segment, which was honestly great because Sister Abigail was calling Bliss a bitch like a couple times, and
he said witches be wild.
Yeah, no, that was great. And then Rambling Rabbit's like, oh, I'm gonna miss Alexa Bliss, and he's like choking with the Rambling Rabbit. Poor Rambling Rabbit. But no, go ahead, finish what you're saying. So yeah, you didn't enjoy it, huh?
I didn't. I was trying to rationalize it in my poor WWE brain, but I couldn't, man. This did not feel like a WrestleMania payoff. It felt like a continuation. But then you're not getting the payoff to that continuation. So I really don't know where this is going to end up.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to say the Fiend has been buried, but like, again, that was the worst part, and you mentioned it was the one RKO thing. We saw that disaster that happened even at Hell in a Cell in 2019 when he faced Seth Rollins. He suffered a lot worse than one RKO. So we know he can take more. And just any of the match there, again, not even 6 minutes was given to this match. So, however, I'm not awarding a point because we both picked the Fiend, and technically Randy won. So that it sucked. I didn't like it. Easily the worst part of WrestleMania, personally, for me. And I was actually kind of excited for this, hoping it would be kind of a cool, maybe cinematic thing. If not, maybe do something cool, live action.
I feel like the entrance was longer than the match.
So again, you know what?
Both entrances were longer than the match. Because Randy Orton's starting to get into that Undertaker range where he like takes a year and a day to get down to the ring. And I'm like, bro, all you are doing is walking.
No, honestly, I think you're right. I feel like the entrances definitely took longer. Again, the only good thing about this was the entrances, especially the Fiends. I thought it was great. But other than that, it was not
I
good.
think the best part was the Fiend, Jeff Hardy jumping off.
That was good too. I did like that. That was pretty good too. Um, but everything that happened afterwards, it was very disappointing, to say the least. We move on. Women's Tag Team Championship match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defend against Natalya and Tamina. We both predicted there would be new tag team champions by the end of the night. Didn't happen. No points. Starting off night two, poor. But again, I wouldn't say this was a bad match. I wanted the Riot Squad to be in this, but again, not a bad match here. We go skip to the end here. Tamina got a huge pop from the crowd here. Good to see. Obviously, people like Tamina. It came to a point where Nia Jax was just absolutely insulting Tamina because obviously they're family. But Tamina finally managed to hit a body slam it was great. That was a good moment, hitting a body slam on Jax. Tamina came off the top rope with the splash, tried to do the super fly splash, obviously, but Jax was able to move out of the way. Natalya tagged in, located Jax in a sharpshooter. Also, kind of a good moment seeing her definitely put the bigger person in the sharpshooter. But Baszler was a legal woman. She slid in, locked the Karafuda clutch. She's knocked out. They retain the titles. Again, nothing great here. Not terrible either though. I thought it was solid. Was fine. But anything was gonna be better than what happened to start off the show. So maybe I had the pleasure of doing that. But fine, JP, what'd you think of this one?
Honestly, this match was better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought that Tamina getting the crowd behind her I did not expect it. I didn't expect for the crowd to be behind Tamina. Like she was getting stone cold peak popularity pops. And I'm like, Tamina? There's a fan section for Tamina? I'm like, y'all out here, but okay. Her slamming Nia Jax was a really cool moment. I'm not gonna lie, that was cool. But I thought it was better than expected. It was a physical match. Like these four women in the ring were real physical. It was a physical match. Shayna Baszler once again trying to knock people out. Thought it was awesome. Nia Jax. I really like Nia Jax's talking while she's the shit talking in the ring. I like that personally. It's probably my favorite thing about Nia Jax wrestling. But with them winning and retaining, where do you go from here? And again, the Riot Squad should have the titles before the end of the year, personally. But also, you had the Iconics. I hate to keep doing this. I really don't hate to keep doing this, but they were right there.
They were, yeah.
And I feel like Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax could both do better than the tag titles.
Especially Shayna Baszler.
Especially Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
But I feel like this division needs a little bit more. The women's tag division needs some more groups, some more bodies. But they just released a lot of them, so we'll see what goes from here.
We'll see. Again, like you said, fine match. I definitely didn't hate it. In fact, it was definitely entertaining to watch it. But we do get again. I feel like a great WrestleMania moment would have been to have the Riot Squad win, actually. So, but this doesn't happen. Whatever. We move on. Obviously, we did not predict that. So we move on to the next match. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I was super hyped for this match. We both were.
Okay, I hate to.
Oh God, is there breaking news?
No, it's not breaking news regarding releases, but AEW hit a real good number with ratings.
I saw that right. Okay, just recently they actually reached 1 million, right?
Yeah, they broke 1 million.
That's good.
It's good, but
which by the way they needed to do, right? I mean, obviously you're alone on Wednesday nights. You're the premier show for the company. If you don't crack 1 million, it would look a little embarrassing. They actually had 1.2 million, if I believe. So good stuff there for AEW. But if talk about ratings, the last Wednesday Night War ratings, NXT won actually. I think they actually went above 1 million. I think. And obviously it helps as a pay-per-view, right? Like when it was on USA Network. But good for AEW. And again, by the way, this week was great because again, I did not miss Dynamite. I always missed it. Had to replay it later.
I love this so much.
I love it. If the fans win, shut up with the whole they won the war. Shut up. It just it's I love wrestling.
Go outside, please. There's a vaccine.
touch grass.
There's a vaccine now. Get the vaccine. Go outside.
Go outside. Touch some grass. It's good for you. But again, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn is the next match. We were both super excited for this match. We obviously know the history between these two. It seemed like it was inevitable they were going to get a match here at WrestleMania. However, Logan Paul was involved in this match because Sami Zayn brought him in to watch his documentary trailer. Great segment there. And we were scared that he was going to be involved in the match. And he wasn't, really. Fans did boo him, was great. And Sami Zayn kind of came out. Obviously, and by the way, it was so great hearing people sing to Sami Zayn's theme song. It was like a sense of normalcy was kind of back there. And obviously they both came out. He introduced Logan Paul. Logan Paul was like sat on the commentator's desk. He wasn't on commentary, but he sat next to him on a chair. And sometimes they panned to him while the match was going on, whatever. However, this was a great match. The only criticism I have for this match, this match didn't even go 10 minutes.
Nope.
And it's one of those things. Again, the trend is that this match could have been way longer. Again, in that 9 minutes, and according to Wikipedia, it was 9 minutes and 20 seconds. In that 9 minutes and 20 seconds, they did amazing stuff. But how are you going to give these two 9 minutes? I really hope that they have a future, WrestleMania match that's longer than that. But again, what they did was great, and we'll just talk about that now. So again, we know the history there, but going into the middle of the match here, Owens, they're on the top rope. He knocks Zayn to the mat here. He hit a frog splash for a 2 count. Owen tries to do the package pile driver, was countered into an exploder suplex into the turnbuckles from Zayn. Zayn counters another big move from Owens, avoiding a stunner to hit the Blue Thunder Bomb. Zayn then went on a flurry of suplexes before a brain buster for yet another fall. Again, some quick movements here. Again, we know the guy's chemistry, right? Owens came back with a superplex, a series of clotheslines. Zayn countered into a haluva kick, but Owens came back with a pair of super kicks and a stunner for the win. There's also a great moment before where they're on the apron and Sami Zayn did a brain buster on the apron to Owens.
Oh.
You forget, with the character that Sami Zayn is, kind of like the weasel kind of paranoid sort of character. The guy's a damn good wrestler. I mean, we know this, right? But he even in this character, he still puts out bangers. It's great to see. After the match, Paul tries to shake Owens' hand, but Zayn got angry, claiming Paul was his guest of honor. It leads to Logan Paul shoving him onto the floor. And to raise Owens' hands, the crowd was booing Paul, but immediately became cheering when Owens was looking at his hand, why'd you touch me? He stunners Logan Paul. And it's great ending. JP, thoughts on the match? What'd you think?
I was emotionally unprepared for this match because I think it was the subtle storytelling they were doing within. Starting off the match with Sami Zayn running at Kevin Owens trying to set him up with a Helova kick and countering it with a pop-up powerbomb. That's shades of their 2016 match where Sami Zayn started off with a Helova kick and connected. There were so many allusions to that match where I'm just like, oh wow, this is really good from both of them. And I was a little disappointed. It really was a quick match, but I think the right person won, and Logan Paul took a stunner. So we all win. So
we all win at the end.
It was a great match.
It was good. Don't get me wrong. Again, definitely enjoyed it. But again, how can you not give these guys at least 10 minutes? I just find that very odd. And again, I wouldn't say obviously this was even better than their Battleground match. I forgot what year that was, maybe 2016, maybe. But definitely a good one. Again, I'm glad they at least got a WrestleMania match, and hopefully in the future, maybe we see them get, go on a tag title run, whatever we'll see in the future with those two. It seems like these two are not done with each other, obviously. So we'll see. But Kevin Owens, stunnering Logan Paul, got a pop from me. Good stuff. We move on to the United States Championship match. Riddle taking on Sheamus. And we both predicted here, and I was saying this as well. This is going to be a really sneaky good match going into this card, and it really wasn't being talked about. And it was just that. It was a really good match. And again, going to the middle here a little bit. These guys, it was a fast start for those two. Sheamus continued. It was a very physical match as well, clubbing forearms. Riddle came back with a huge flipping belly to suplex from the top rope. Riddle flurried in with strikes, hit the Pele kick into an exploder suplex, and a senton. Riddle also hit a jackhammer on Sheamus. I thought that was interesting. That was great though. I really enjoyed him doing that.
I loved
Better
it.
than Goldberg, right?
Oh,
Better than Goldberg. Sheamus finally cuts off Riddle's offense with a big knee. Riddle flips over the top rope, followed up with an Alabama slam for a near fall. The big moves. Riddle hitting a twisting springboard moonsault to the outside, and then Sheamus was able to counter that into a power bomb. And then we move to the ending here, where after a diving knee, Sheamus scored a near fall and then set up for the bro kick. Riddle counters, tries to hit a springboard moonsault, but was caught midair by a bro kick from Sheamus. Great ending, busted up face from Riddle afterwards. Pin him 1-2-3. Sheamus is your United States champion. JP, thoughts on this?
this was one of my favorite matches of WrestleMania, both nights. Just the physicality from both guys. Like Sheamus is one of the most physical wrestlers in the WWE. Matt Riddle can go when he has to, and they went. Like this whole match was really good and really well done. The mid-air bro kick, dude, I popped for that because he kicked the lights out. And seeing Matt Riddle's busted up face after, I'm like, dang, he got him good. There was a little part in the match where they almost slipped doing the white noise off the top rope, and it was actually a really great job of Sheamus of not killing him and Matt Riddle by just going off of the ropes and just doing a regular white noise. So, excuse me, I think it was a really great match, really physical. I'm glad Sheamus got the title. I'm glad he's rewarded for his in-ring work, which is arguably been the best of his career. I think Matt Riddle's destined for bigger things, and we'll definitely have to see. But I thought this was one of the better matches of WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, completely agree. And like you said, we again no points obviously given to us. We both predicted Riddle to win, but obviously I think we both did want Sheamus to win again, like you said. We've been talking about throughout the three brands, people that keep on losing but put on so much great in-ring work. We saw Jey Uso, who was rewarded with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and now we see Sheamus get rewarded with the United States title. And hey, I just realized this actually. The three guys we thought were kept losing got rewarded in some way. Obviously, Jey Uso with the Andre the Giant, trophy, Sheamus with the United States Championship, and then Kushida wins the Cruiserweight Championship on NXT. So good to see that. Moving on, though. Good match. Move on to the Intercontinental Championship match. Big E defending his title against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. This one was interesting. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one, GAP. But what is a Nigerian drum fight? There was drums on tables and chairs along the ring. There was also a gong there as well. And they both immediately got some kendo sticks. They're wearing at each other. And before I kind of go on, obviously we were both saying how every time they've had a title match, it started off so great, but ended always in sort of a botch or sort of a mishap, like it did at Fastlane. We were hoping that this would be a little longer and hopefully a little bit better. And then again, they were both working on each other. One of my favorite things that Big E does is when they were in the ring and then Cruz kind of got out of it. Big E hits a spear through the ropes onto the outside. That move is I love that move. Big E tried to set up some of the ring steps, allowing Cruz to get back into the match, eventually trying to drop the steps on Big E like he injured him, several weeks ago. Big E was able to move out of the way, hit a Uranagi suplex from the ring apron onto the steps on the outside. Cruz fired up and came back with a flurry of shots with a kendo stick, missed one trying to hit a splash on Big E from the top rope, threw a table, he missed. Big E hit the big ending on him. I thought he was going to win. However, Dabba-Kato, if you remember him from Raw Underground, the commentators didn't, but we do obviously, hitting a choke slam on Big E and placing Cruz on top for the 3 count. This match went 6 minutes and 50 seconds. I want to get your thoughts on this, JP. I didn't hate this. Maybe it's because I predicted Apollo to win and you didn't, so that gives me the lead here. But I didn't think it was going to happen this way. That's for sure. I didn't expect maybe Dabba-Kato to be a part of this. Again, people had some problems with the announcers not knowing who he is. I think that's just part of the story. They're probably going to give him a different name. Maybe if it's Dabba-Kato still, then I would understand that criticism. I didn't hate it though. Again, very short, very short. So I don't know if it's really worth a WrestleMania kind of sort of thing. But Apollo Crews got his moment. Again, I've been loving what he's doing with his character. It's been great. JP, what do you think?
My only really big problem with this match was they didn't use any of the drums. It's a Nigerian drum fight, and he didn't use a single drum.
I'm glad. I'm really glad you mentioned that because I was thinking that too. I was looking back at this match. I'm like, did they really? I remember they tried to use the gong at one time, which they did, and then that was it.
It was just there for vibes only. And like, it was a physical match. I liked it for what it was. I enjoy that Dabba-Kato is now a part of this Apollo Crews faction because every prince needs someone to for someone to take the fall for him, and that's what Dabba-Kato is going to be. I didn't mind it at all. I have a really good feeling that Big E is going to win Money in the Bank. I think this is going to be the moment. I don't think it's going to be Cesaro because Cesaro is going to get a title match because he's number one contender. But this is Big E's. I think Big E's going to be the one to beat Roman Reigns. I'm calling it right now. You can write it down. Big E is going to beat Roman Reigns for the Universal title. He's just so over with the crowd. The Wale entrance, the Feed in America gear. It's just this is the moment. They're gonna Nobody really lost from this match. I think both guys benefited. Apollo Crews gets the title, gets heat, and they're strapping the rocket to him. This is his moment now. Big E is going to be putting that main title picture. I think he's going to win Money in the Bank, and they're going to strap the rocket to him. And it's honestly great to see.
Yeah,
I said it, I think, on Twitter, but this is Apollo Crews' first WrestleMania appearance. And it's also his first WrestleMania singles match. And he won the Intercontinental title, one of the most prestigious titles in WWE history. It's just like those moments. It's not as big as Bianca Belair, but it's definitely a really cool moment. And Big E getting to defend the title in front of his hometown, just really great all around. So I
absolutely.
liked
Yeah,
it for what it was.
yeah. Um, it was fine. Again, it was better than what we got to open the show on night two, but it was still some good stuff. I didn't mind it. And again, I agree with you. I think this shoots him in the title picture. I don't think we see a rematch. We've seen enough of Biggie and Apollo Crews. I feel we've gone like 3 or 4 matches with those two. So I think Biggie gets into the title picture. I'm not sure if that'll be the first feud Roman has. Even though I think Dave Meltzer did say that maybe that would be the first feud. I guess we'll see on SmackDown. I'm not sure. Um, but we'll see.
I think it's gonna be Cesaro.
I could definitely see that. Um, and again, I have another person to put in the hat maybe for Roman Reigns, which we'll get to. We'll talk about the ending there. But we move on to the second to last match of the night: Rhea Ripley taking on Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And what happens here? Rhea Ripley is your new Raw Women's Champion. Both get a point for that. We definitely both predicted it. And again, reminds me of WrestleMania 21. 2 big stars winning the world titles, putting in 2 new big stars into the mix. John Cena, Batista at WrestleMania 21, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair here. But the match was good in itself. I wouldn't say it reached the level of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, but this was still a good match nonetheless here. We go to the kind of the lasting moments here. Asuka was able to drive Ripley into the floor with a DDT from the apron, tried for an armbar back inside, continued to go back to the arm. The arm was very targeted for Ripley here. Ripley countered an Asuka lock into a pin, forcing Asuka to break the hold. However, seconds later, Ripley was able to hit the riptide after ducking a kick to win the title. A good match. JP, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good match. Asuka can have a match with a broomstick and make it look good. Um, just a slight observation. Rhea Ripley is not the height that they say she is. I think she is taller because she towered over Asuka. Like, if there's any women's wrestler that I believe is like over 6 feet tall, it's Rhea Ripley. Because
Yeah.
I'm 6'2", and I think Rhea Ripley is about as tall as me, man. But I thought the match was really good. Like you said, it shades of WrestleMania 21. I think it lacked the story build like Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, which is why it didn't feel as emotional or as like such a great moment as, you know, Belair winning the title as Rhea Ripley did winning. But the counter into the Riptide for the win was really sick. I enjoyed it. And congratulations to Rhea Ripley. I thought it was a really good match. I'm excited to see where it goes, where title reign, because it's looking like it's going to be Charlotte first, which is a huge test on where they think Rhea Ripley is and where Rhea Ripley is going to be. Because if Charlotte wins the title, that's going to that might be the day that wrestling Twitter explodes.
Please don't. For me, I mean, again, the Raw after Mania, they had a rematch, Asuka and her, and it resulted in Charlotte Flair obviously interfering. Maybe they'll do a triple threat. I don't know. But I think we're eventually gonna get Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, obviously because of last WrestleMania, and I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think Flair should win it. You know,
I don't either. Not at all.
but knowing WWE, maybe she will. So, which honestly creates a lot of intrigue for the match because I really wouldn't know what to pick. I would probably pick Ripley to defend it, but I don't know. But like you said, a good match. Again, it did not have the oomph that Belair and Banks had because to me, again, that was the best match of WrestleMania so far. It was still a good one. Rhea Ripley wins. It's the right winner too. I think Asuka really just did not need to have the title now. I think she needs to have. I know she's going to win the title again, right? For Asuka, I think she needs to have a fresh start with the title. I think the title needs a fresh start because this title reign, again, she's had some good matches, but again, it's like they forgot about it. Again, before this match, the last pay-per-view title defense for Asuka was against Selena Vega at Clash of Champions.
I really feel like her title reign was, and I said on Twitter, it was snake bitten. It was so unlucky with bad booking and bad writing. Lacey Evans getting pregnant. Which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Please don't please don't think that I'm saying having a child is a bad thing.
I'm glad, honestly, I'm glad she did get pregnant, which is a weird thing to say. But because it was reported that she was going to win the title. It was reported that she was going to win the title against Asuka at Elimination Chamber. That's what it was.
Set up Lacey versus Flair for custody of Ric Flair. But even with the concussion, it just Asuka's title reign never really felt like it got off the ground.
Yeah.
So definitely. It needed something new. And hopefully it's something great with Rhea Ripley, but you're going to have to build some more people, and that requires some good writing for the women's division, which is something I have yet to see.
Knowing Raw, I'm very worried. However, it breathes new life into the title. Again, a pretty good match. And even the rematch, except for that one moment where it was like Rhea Ripley was supposed to get Asuka on her shoulders, but they slipped. It was a botch there. And then I remember Ripley had a promo backstage. It was kind of awful. And it was like, imagine, you know when you watch Saturday Night Live and a celebrity is the guest host and they're in a sketch and the camera looks at the guest host is talking to someone in the sketch, but you can tell they're not looking at it. They're looking at the cue card to read off the lines. It seemed like that was what Rhea Ripley was doing to Kevin Patrick on Raw. Very, very weird. But again, we'll see where that goes. Again, I love Rhea Ripley. I think it breathes new life into the title. We'll see where this goes. We move on to the main event, JP. For the Universal title, Roman Reigns defending it against Edge and Daniel Bryan. And I'll explain why you see JP if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., JP has his head down with his hands in his face. Because on the show, on our predictions podcast, he had originally Roman Reigns defending the title and winning at WrestleMania. And then he heard my dumb ass and said, oh, maybe you're right about Edge. He was number 1 in the Royal Rumble. He lasted 29 other people. He's going to win. It's 10 years to the day, to this day, as Deontay Wilder said, that he retired and had to vacate the World Heavyweight title. But JP, he decided wrong. Roman Reigns left WrestleMania with the title.
And
JP
now,
broke
what makes it even worse is the fact that I lost to you by 1. And
by
that
one
1 could
point.
have been the main event.
It could have been main event. Yeah, but it was a great match, though.
It
So
was a
come on,
fantastic match.
the prediction. Who cares? This was an amazing main event. To me, an all-time main event. I thought it was great. And again, we were predicting this possibly be match of the year. It's definitely up there for me, for sure. This match, but let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. Again, Edge comes out in a nice little gear. Huge pop for Edge. Obviously, Edge, first WrestleMania, with a live crowd since 27? When he defended the title against Alberto Del Rio,
That
which
was
is
7?
yep, and 28
Oh
obviously wasn't there. Yeah, that was the last one with live crowds again. Again, he was there last year. He faced off against Randy Orton in the last man standing match in the Performance Center, but obviously no people. But again, this match was just from bell to bell, just fast paced and was great. So again, Reigns went right after Bryan, laying a right hand before Edge jumped on the champion. They're all fighting each other. It quickly spilled to the out to the floor. Reigns trying to set up the announce table, but Bryan landed a suicide dive, and Jey Uso gets involved quickly, takes out Bryan with a super kick, and Edge takes out Reigns to the only man standing amid the chaos. Edge took out Uso with the DDT on the ring steps. Actually did like the execution on the ring steps, which was great to see. And Edge and Bryan went at it in the ring, and the crowd was going crazy because that's like the dream match people want to see. They went at it before Reigns grabbed Edge from the apron. Bryan slid between the legs of both men, drove Reigns face first into the edge of the ring before a flurry of offense from Edge. Bryan tried to hit Reigns with another suicide dive, but was caught, dumped on the floor by the champion. Edge counters a Reigns Superman punch with a DDT before setting up for a spear. Reigns hit his own counter, drilling Edge with a Superman punch, setting up for the spear of his own. Edge counters with a sunset flip, but he kicks out. This allowed Bryan to get back in the match, diving headbutts on both men near fallen Reigns. Bryan hits both men with yes kicks before running knee to Edge and a kick to Reigns' head for another near fall. Bryan's hot run continued as he locked Reigns in the yes lock. Edge broke the hold. I thought it was over at this point. I was like, yes, Daniel Bryan. Even though I picked Edge, but I wanted Daniel Bryan. We both wanted Daniel Bryan to win. But Edge broke the hold. Bryan responded by putting Edge in the same hold. I was like, okay, maybe this time. Reigns made the save there. Reigns plummeted Bryan before taking him to the outside, powerbombing Bryan through the announce table, and he is talking to the crowds. Even before he did the powerbomb onto the table from Bryan, he was just kind of embracing in the Reigns sucks chants. And then after he did it, he was talking to the fans. He had to pay attention though. Edge does a spear on top of the steps, which is a great one to see. Reigns and Edge ended up back in the ring. And again, it gave me shades when he put Bryan through the table. Exactly what happened in WrestleMania 30 when Orton and Batista put Edge through the Bryan through the announce table. Same thing happened at WrestleMania 20 when it was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and versus Redacted when they put Redacted through the announce table. and he eventually won. Going back to this match though. So again, when that happened, I'm like, okay, maybe we're going to see the same thing. And then so again, they're at it in the ring, and then they're kind of trading chair shots. Edge responded by taking Reigns to the ground, locking him in a crossface, grabbing, and when the chair broke, I thought accidentally he got the stick, but maybe not because he used the stick and put it to Reigns' mouth, to get the hold in, and Reigns was about to tap, and I thought it was over. He was about to tap, and then again Daniel Bryan catches his hand, locks in the yes lock, and Bryan and Edge are locking in Reigns, and they're trading headbutts trying to get each other off. It was a great moment. Because they're both holding Reigns and stuff like that. Bryan goes for a running knee on Edge. Was hit with a spear before Edge hit Reigns with a spear. But Bryan pulled the referee from the ring before the 3 count. Edge snaps, attacks with him with a steel chair, and he's looking for both opponents dead, pretty much dead on the ground. He's looking for the concerto. He managed to hit Daniel Bryan with the concerto, but Uso ran to the ring to attack Edge before getting speared. Reigns got back to his feet, took out Edge with a spear, hit his own concerto on Edge. He placed the lifeless body of Edge onto the lifeless body of Daniel Bryan. He pins them both on top of one another.
A boss move, honestly.
It was disrespectful. He said on SmackDown, he said, I'm going to stack him. I'm going to win. I'm going to smash him. He lived up to the promise. He did that, pinned both of them, and he wins. JP, why did you change your decision?
I don't know, man, but this was a wonderful match. Just the storytelling throughout. And I think someone made this reference on Twitter, but the one guy who won was the guy who never changed throughout the match or throughout any of the promos. He didn't lose composure. He didn't get deranged. He didn't lose his mind. Edge lost his mind through this whole promo, through this whole rivalry. Daniel Bryan lost his cool throughout the match, but Roman Reigns didn't. He remained the same as he was. And dude, I'm telling you, if there were fans in attendance on Friday or tomorrow, we're recording this on Thursday, if there were fans in attendance, we would see the same amount of boos that we got after the Taker match. I want him to cut the exact same promo. Just say, this is my yard now, and just leave. I think it would be such a boss move.
Well, could he? So, like, obviously, he's not. I guess he's not called the big dog anymore, right? So I guess maybe he wouldn't say that. He would just say, "Still head of the table." Dan it, leave. I would be fine with that. That would be amazing. Again, before we made our decisions, and I said Edge, which, by the way, people were kind of talking about, does really Edge's Royal Rumble wouldn't make any sense then? And I will admit, kind of a waste of time. Again, when you win one, he was originally two. They made him one. They made him the first entrant. Well, I mean, technically, when you're the first and second entrant, it doesn't really matter, but right? But when you're considered the number one entrant, whatever. So I can kind of understand where people are saying that, but also, again, I saw anybody winning this one, and to me, it's like, Reigns is having the run of his career, So again, I'm not even mad that they're keeping the title with them. He's gonna have this title for a long time, And like you said, maybe we'll get the eventual payoff if Big E wins Money in the Bank. If he doesn't, if he wins the Rumble, if he doesn't, he'll get the eventual title shot. I think he will. But he's been having, again, the best reign with the Universal title by far.
By far. We need to start talking about like best heel runs of the modern era, because I put this up there. Miz 2016 with the Intercontinental title, definitely up there.
Because the thing that gives me the difference here is it's not even just his promo work, which is vastly improved since since becoming a face. It's just the matches. He really hasn't missed a match. He has not missed a title match. The worst title match he had was against Braun Strowman on the season premiere of SmackDown, and it was still not a bad match. But every pay-per-view match has been a banger. No question.
Big game Roman.
It gained Roman. And again, having him stack the opponents at the end, it's just, I was shocked. I was like, wow.
I feel like an underrated thing that people aren't talking about this match is Edge took a concerto.
He did.
Daniel Bryan took a concerto. Two guys with history of head and neck injuries took a concerto. And it's really a testament to how much they've recovered and the drive they had to get back healthy enough to be in the ring. Because if it were me and I had the history of concussions like Daniel Bryan did, I'm not taking a concerto. I might not even be in the ring. Same thing with Edge. They said that neck injury could have ended his life, but he took a concerto.
Oh yeah.
It's just more power to them. It was a fantastic match. Easily one of my favorite of the year.
Completely agree. Now let me ask you a question. Is it your favorite Roman Reigns Universal title match in this run on pay-per-view? Just to give you a rundown, right? You had the first two Jey Uso matches, both great. I lean towards the Hell in a Cell I Quit match because it was great. You had the two matches against Kevin Owens, the one at TLC, which was great, and then the one at Royal Rumble, which I liked a little bit better. It was the last man standing match. Besides a little thing where he couldn't get the handcuffs off, phenomenal. And then you did have that one. tiny match. Served a story purpose in Elimination Chamber when he beat Daniel Bryan right after the match.
Fastlane, Daniel Bryan.
Fastlane, arguably to me, maybe my favorite, but the WrestleMania one was great. What do you think?
I might lean towards the Hell in a Cell with Jey Uso.
It's a good one.
Just the story that was being told. And Roman cried. Like, cried.
When you talk about a wrestling match, that was definitely more story oriented, even though the wrestling was still good in that. But you're right, that ending where like he's just kind of breaking down, and then still puts Jimmy in the guillotine.
Uso. I mean, come on, man. That's probably my favorite Roman Reigns match, like, ever. Like, in terms of story, the wrestling was great. Just peak, like, Oscar level stuff, storytelling.
Nah, it was great. For me personally, I think that this is definitely near the top, this main event. I would definitely look at Fastlane, even though I didn't like, again, I said this on the show, and I mentioned this before with the Walter thing where people had a problem with the chop being the ending. I believe that way more than 2 chair shots to the back that Bryan took and then he lost. Other than that match was fantastic.
The Falls Count Anywhere at Royal Rumble was absolutely insane. That's one of my favorites, just because I love Kevin Owens so much, and like the spots in that match.
It was great.
He like frog splashed off the forklift.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh my god, it was great. No, that's a great match too. That has to be near the top as well. I'm definitely going to be rewatching WrestleMania and especially the matches to really see. I want to bring up this opponent now because I think that right now we're going to have Drew McIntyre and we're going to have Bobby Lashley WrestleMania Backlash. I think Lashley should win. I think at some point we're going to see McIntyre and Reigns feud for the Universal title. And I think that you have to set that up sometime. You're having the top babyface and the top heel. I think it's eventually going to happen. And that could set up possibly the next WrestleMania if they want to do that in the future. I don't know. But the thing is that if you take Drew McIntyre out of Raw, how is that the main title picture going to look like, really? That's the thing for me. However, I think it's destined. We saw the Survivor Series match last year. Another match that Roman Reigns in his current run had, by the way. It wasn't a title match. It wasn't a title match. It was still amazing.
You know how crazy it is that that's the match we forgot about?
Yeah. And it was great. It was arguably, I wouldn't say my favorite. It's up there, though, for me personally. Again, I just think that those two are destined to have a legendary feud for the title, and it will result in a WrestleMania match. What do you think about that? I don't think it's gonna be. I think Big E might still be the person to take it off of him, but I think that should be in the cards.
Here's how I'd map it out. If they do Roman Reigns having a match at Backlash, I think it needs to be against Cesaro. He's the rightful number 1 contender, and it'd be a banger of a match. If Drew McIntyre comes over to SmackDown in like the draft or the brand shakeup, I think they do that maybe at SummerSlam or Hell in a Cell. I think that deserves to be I think it's a SummerSlam worthy match. SummerSlam is one of the big 4 pay-per-views that WWE has. It deserves to be one of those big matches.
Agreed.
So we'll just do the big 4. Money in the Bank. Ooh, I forgot about Money in the Bank. I think Cesaro is going to be the Money in the Bank challenger. SummerSlam. I think you do Drew McIntyre. Either Drew McIntyre or Seth Rollins.
To me, Drew and Roman, that has to be Mania.
I don't think so. I don't think they do it. I don't think they do it at Mania because I think they're gonna give Drew his Mania. They're gonna give Drew a Mania win in front of fans.
Why not against the best heel in the company?
Because Big E is going to get that moment.
I wouldn't mind that either. Again, you're on the nose. It has to be one of the big 4. Obviously, yeah. Survivor Series, they do the Raw SmackDown thing, so it's not gonna be for the title there. SummerSlam, I wouldn't mind.
Lashley at Survivor Series going to bang.
All I'm saying is that an amazing WrestleMania card with the two opponents would be McIntyre and Reigns main event. Give them 3 hours in the ring. No, but seriously,
So like,
I don't think they're gonna do it that far beyond Brock and Bobby. I don't think Bobby's gonna be champion by then, but I
the
think
big four pay-per-views, you got Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. And then we'll just count Survivor Series because we're doing from Mania to Mania. So Money in the Bank, you could have Cesaro. SummerSlam would be I think it's gonna be Drew McIntyre. Survivor Series, of course, Bobby Lashley. Royal Rumble is interesting. I think they do Seth Rollins. I
that'd be
think
banger.
that'd be fire because again, Shield match. And in Mania, of course, Big E. Now, I think an interesting player in all of this is Finn Balor. If they bring this Finn Balor up to the main roster, would Finn Balor and Roman Reigns be a WrestleMania worthy match?
Being honest, to me it is. I don't think they would see it as that.
So then I would do SummerSlam or the Rumble. Because that's a big four pay-per-view headliner.
I think Balor needs to be on Raw.
I think he does too, but I could see if Drew doesn't go to SmackDown, then I think Finn Balor goes to SmackDown. If Drew goes SmackDown, I think Finn goes to Raw. I just feel like you got to keep them away from each other because they're too big in their own like popularity.
Yeah, no, I see that.
But
again, for me, just to kind of, I just think we're destined to see Roman and Drew have some sort of feud. Obviously, it's in history. I mean, the story is there, whether it be in the Royal Rumble when Drew won it, whether it be at WrestleMania 35 when they had a match, even how Roman has been pretty much the face of the company, but at one point Drew was the chosen one. I think it's all there. And the makings for great.
And Drew carrying the WWE through the pandemic until Roman got back.
I just think it's there. Again, we saw a slimmer what could be in that Survivor Series buildup, and it was with what they got was great there. Okay, now I want this, JP. I don't care. So WrestleMania, book it.
I'm thinking the WrestleMania in Dallas will probably see Drew versus Roman.
Yes, yeah. I would love to see that.
I need Big E to win the big title.
I think it's going to happen.
It could be a WrestleMania cash-in. I don't know. Maybe. But I do think Roman is going to have the title by the time WrestleMania comes to Los Angeles.
You think so? Whoa. You think he's going to keep that title?
I don't think it's going to be the same title reign, but I think he's going to have that title by the time WrestleMania rolls around. I think it'll be 39 in Los Angeles.
He's going to face The Rock.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And it's going to be in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
I think he's going to face The Rock. I think this Roman against John Cena could potentially happen if John ever wants to do a match again with Roman. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think a face AJ Styles versus a heel Roman would be awesome.
Oh my God.
I think this Sheamus against Roman. Oh, you know what? Keith Lee. Remember Survivor Series. I want that at a pay-per-view. It doesn't have to be a big four.
It's like for SmackDown, I feel like the possibilities are endless with people on the roster currently. I think Raw needs Keith Lee. I just think that he needs to be in that main title picture again. Yeah. You know, it's just like when you put, I would love Finn Balor to be on the better creative team on SmackDown, but he's a big name talent that I think that could be in the main title picture. I think would be great. But that That's it. And how long was this episode?
This
were
is
just
probably
going.
gonna be like 2 hours maybe, but it's fire content. So
It's fire content. If we're gonna split this up between pay-per-views, who knows? Doesn't matter. We've given you some great content here. That's gonna do it. We went over NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. We went over WrestleMania 37, both nights on each event. I hate to do it to you, JP, but I won this time.
curse you, WWE creative, and you too for making me think Edge was gonna win.
It was all strategery in my brain.
It's long-term booking.
WWE, come on. But 16 to 15, and it would have been tied. Again, I feel like I have to go back and see if we actually did tie. You might have gone Vengeance Day, I think, for that one. But yeah, we've been pretty close with predictions. So that's gonna do it for us, guys. Again, follow our account on Twitter at Yell_Sell. You can find me personally on Twitter at Zach Weinberger, Zach with an H, WEINBERGER. Also write stuff for the University Press, freelance writer for the Jewish Forward, has some stuff on the horizon there. We're dealing with sports and dealing with other stories, dealing with the Jewish community in South Florida. Check out that as well. But again, just follow our shenanigans. JP's Twitter is at Acosta32_JP. What else you got to plug?
I am a writer at Big Cat Country, and we're doing some pretty cool NFL draft content for the main page of SB Nation. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Hi, Jewel. I also am a business manager for the FAU University Press. We're going to be having some pretty cool podcasts coming out. I'm really excited to be back on the entertainment podcast. We had the sports podcast the other day that's going to be going out hopefully sometime this weekend. We talk about keg stands and Voltron.
Nice.
So you should definitely listen to that. It's definitely about sports. I can promise you that. But just make sure to follow me on Twitter, see where I'm going, see what I'm doing. I think I'm pretty funny. So just check me out.
Also, I have another pod, obviously, with Jacob Brown, the Nerd Pod 2. We're going to be talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier new episode coming out tomorrow. And we got that in the future. Invincible. I'm all cut up with Invincible now. Great stuff. And obviously I'll probably be raving about the Snyder Cut once again on the next episode. I'll find any chance to do it. So that's going to do it for us at Yell in the Cell. Again, follow us on Twitter. Tell us what you want to see from us. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Support us on podcasting, streaming platforms, Apple Podcast, Anchor, Spotify, etc., etc. Support us and just give us ideas what you want to do. That's going to do it for us, guys. Have a good day.